Yeah, all right.
Live now. There you go. So,
Okay.
I mean, what is the equivalent in America with that respect?
Oh, you mean the NDP?
Well, those elections, I mean.
It would be like a state, like a governor, like a state. What do they call those?
A gubernatorial election?
Yes, exactly. It's like equivalent of a gubernatorial election. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I forget the exact like how different provinces declare it. Like I know that they're starting to do like political ads here in Ontario. They got this weird commercial where it's like this the Liberal Party woman, she's like this blonde chubby woman, not that chubby actually, but like she's got this commercial and it's got like this like by POC LGBT cadre, and the only white guy they got, you can obviously tell that he's, is very funny. You could, if you ever watch like Fire Stick or whatever, or like a Roku, you'll see all these commercials. Vote in the gubernatorial election.
So true.
Yeah, so the NDP, they also won this. So they did win British Columbia, but they won by a hair. And the Conservatives actually did give them a run for money, which is, literally unheard of in recent years for any like conservative candidate to like have any traction in British Columbia. So let's see what happens. I mean, anyways,
the white guys they use are silly billies. I would agree with that wholeheartedly, Operative Kane. It's like that.
There you go.
Whether it's the white dudes for Harris or just the men for Harris that were all like Antifa, Failson activists who couldn't make it in Hollywood, and so they all got hired by their friends to do.
One tall fat guy, the mixed race fat guy, he was like not a legit actor, but like he failed in Hollywood. He tried to like, I don't know, he could have if he wanted to revive his acting career right now. Oh, you guys know what I'm going to say right now. If you've heard the news, he could have applied for season 3 of Fish Tank. They have it's season 3. It's Famous Tank, where they have like these washed up reality show people, and they're all like in this influencer house type deal. Latinx Gio, and yeah, it's really good. They got this gay black guy. They got this other black guy that's a schizophrenic that has fantasies about playing. That was like an actor. But he's like, I want to play a rapist in a role one time. And they got like Blicky, I think. They still got Blicky. They got another like another blonde bimbo. Then they got this like literal Antifa, like light-skinned girl who's like a Portland,
many such cases.
Like she was like, if you look at her link tree, she was like legitimately in the Chaz. She was like legitimately in the Chaz, and she's got all these like Black Lives Matter donation links. Remember Black Lives Matter donation links? You never see them anymore. It's always like trans donation links. But do you remember back?
I'll pay for HRT.
Yeah, but back in the day, it was all Black Lives Matter donations.
Well, because you had to ensure that the destruction of Red Lobster was complete.
Yeah.
But of course, black people don't say link in the bio. They say like, here's my, payment protection plan application.
Yeah. And no, but the thing is like,
yes, yo mama, it's a powerful drug, but I don't recommend it.
Well, as soon as the TTS goes on, she's out there. She's out the door. So,
oh yeah,
we'll see how long she lasts. There's going to be all sorts of hate facts and certain words. They already had a controversy where a white guy in the Fish Tank dropped the gamer word, and they had this like big thing over it, and the gay black guys like making a big deal about it. But anyways, so for those who don't know, the NDP in Canada, there really is an equivalent in America. The equivalent would be like the DSA.
Okay.
The Democratic Socialists of America. That's basically like the NDP.
And it has an Indian gentleman at the head, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, Jagmeet Singh. So he's like a Sikh ultra nationalist. No, I don't even think he's a Sikh ultra nationalist. He's just like, that's his ethnic lobby. But Anyways,
The equivalent would be like if AOC wasn't marginalized in the Democratic Party. Okay, well, that's not a fair, not a unfair characterization. Although, have you noticed? I hate doing palace intrigue, but since this is the palace intrigue episode, you know how she was on Morning Joe this morning, and everyone was like noticing that she looks quite different than how she has in the past, whether it be age, whether it be pregnancy, who knows. The one thing that is really entertaining about the tragedy of American politics is that our intrasexual conflict between like Laura Loomer and all these other women is beyond entertaining. Like Taylor Lorenz versus Chaya Rachik or whatever. It's just like, so I'm watching these like wealthy, well-to-do, rich Jewesses call each other old on my timeline.
Very funny.
And it is. It's insane.
I don't think AOC's
Marbley,
pregnant.
you did the job. You did the job that her ginger husband could not do. We appreciate it,
I don't think
Marbley.
she's pregnant. I personally don't think this.
I think she's just getting older.
Well, I think she's like so antinatalist that she would think that having a kid would ruin her prospects at like whatever Speaker of the House role that she's about to get. So, I mean, I don't think she's pregnant. I mean, she does have like, I mean, some women are saying like, yeah, I recognize it. That's pregnancy face, but you never know. You never know. I mean, I think either she's just getting chunkier or was like the light of the room. I don't know. I don't think AOC, like, she has to like break the stereotype of like Latinas. She ain't gonna get pregnant, put it that way. I mean, I would be shocked if she actually had children. I mean, it would be, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that like at this point, like antinatalism is like an ideological sticking point for them. And so, you know.
Well, who knows? And we'll only find out in the coming months if anything happens.
Maybe she'll announce her abortion. That'll be like more in keeping with her brand. I hate to say it, but like
outside of a few really pro baby murder radicals, I don't think, because I know like who was it, Jane Fonda or whoever who was doing the whole like shout your abortion thing.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah,
I don't know if that's even on the left, like the mainstream.
Lady Gaga did too. Yeah.
I don't think that you could go. I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. Maybe we have. I don't know. I'm not in touch with lib world. I'm not. So I could be wrong. But that feels so straight out of that would actually, that's actually the most millennial thing that could happen.
Yeah.
This election cycle has been the most millennial coded election cycle in my lifetime, whilst at the same time probably being over the most bare bones basic issues of civilization. Like, actually, you can't flood your country full of millions of like third worlders who have no capability of maintaining civilization. No, you can't just let everybody take drugs and have a good time. It's like that Owen Cyclops thing where it's like the guy hooked up to like heroin and like the auto masturbator 5000 and has got the VR goggles of like Harry Potter porn or whatever. And everyone's like, well, this is kind of fucked up. And then the dude's like, shut up, let people enjoy things. And it's like, yeah, I guess this is where we're at, is the let people enjoy things election. And by enjoy things, we mean national suicide and just the complete destruction of the people who built this country. So that's where we're at.
There was that great line by Scorched Earth Policy on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I'd find it.
Please do.
It was about like the millennial Scorched. There you go. Where is it? Let me find it. It was like right in the middle of his recent screed about values and about having a purpose in life. About like the need for violence. That's like man's inherent compulsion towards violence. So in the middle he says, where is it? Oh man.
You want to just put the link in chat and I can put it on screen?
Here it is. Yeah, here it is. Okay, I'll put the link. Let me
in the private chat and I'll put it up.
Yeah.
I don't have a guy that says, Jamie, pull that up.
Jamie, pull that up.
Jamie.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, here we go. Let me go present this on share screen. Scorched earth policy. There we go. Waiting for, I don't know how much I want to read. Waiting for Kamala Harris drone on with her nasal 75 IQ vapid Obama speak. I can't read some of this. Vague, safe inspiration, office jargon over the past years. The storybook villain, DEI mammon for our era's greatest narrative unfolding made me realize something. It is not simply the bare facts of disenfranchisement that has spurned on young men to reject the gospel of globalism. It is not a simple equation of rejecting spiritual and literal castration. It is not merely the most basic reflex that occurs when quality of life, income, and opportunity becomes strangled into a pipe dream as you face down a short, crippled life of impoverished consumption. No, there is a deep gnawing urge in the heart of man for the delicious forbidden ambrosia of violence, conflict, strife, and turmoil, which is dried up in the great drought of plenty. Humanity craves violence. Humanity benefits from the suffering of others. There is no ultimate utopia where we all have robots to do everything, harvest anything we need from errant asteroids, and have AI reduce all of our struggle into aimless Star Trek creative renaissance pursuits of discovery and knowledge. All true so far. We thirst for blood. We desire an enemy. We need to step on others to climb higher. There will always be a greater and a lesser. There will always be a nemesis. There will always be a monster to slay, a land to conquer, a deluge to withstand, a conquered to subjugate. There will be always a fundamental force of nature that propels static equilibrium into chaos, a tiny match in the ocean of gasoline sloshing around your soul, begging, pleading, edging towards the orgasm of spark to engulf it all in flames. There is an inquisition being held under a neon-lit gold glitter. This is so good. There's an inquisition being held under a neon-lit, gold glitter cursive slogan embedded in a wall of fake leaves, centered on a high-ceiling white wall. Bruno Mars plays quietly on an iPhone, nestled between the tip tablet, next to the pink thermos filled with tap water. It is an office lobby labyrinth, haunted by the shambling of Uber drivers and dickless podcast cadence. It is the hallmark of our great millennial dark age, a tyranny of perfect, professionalized casualism. The inherent femininity of itself is a red herring. Women are simply wielded as its vanguard, like a captured outskirt villagers being forced by a Mongolian horde to beset upon their own relatives entrenched in a siege desert palace somewhere in Khwarazm. Your own people suffering the impalement of arrows by your hand. No, this isn't feminine. The feminine has its own forbidden hungers and indulgences that are too suppressed by the cult of stagnation. This is the paradoxical promise of immortality through the complete rejection that makes you human. This is quite a bit, but this is like really good. Oh, we're almost done. I have seen the glee and fervor in the faces of a rabid mob. I know what excites you people. I know the right flavor of flesh to spurn the disenfranchised into a ravenous frenzy. It is the promise of blood. It is the great disruption of nothing into a grand, terrifying something. It is the true change. Change being the great unspeakable horror that tears down your fabric of existence and exposes you to its reality until you are rocked to your fucking core and you finally learn to appreciate the stability which you spurned. It is the understanding that war is more than a cinematic explosive pageantry, but a gray, muddy, turbo-fear onslaught of random violence interrupting the steady, ongoing, uncertain discomfort of waiting, shitting in the dirt, and harvesting moisture from filthy puddles as you run, hide, and die. Change is the crucible of chaos, which reduces all to satisfy desire into development of culture through necessity. The musical chairs of death, disease, and destruction, a loud, violent tunnel with a light at the end, promising its survivors a chance to actually define existence once again for their progeny, rather than to be helpless bystanders of the past. You can admit that you crave it. That's a fantastic
first for Annihilation right there.
I haven't followed that guy before. It changes today. That was really good.
He was one of the original Milady people.
Oh, was he? Well, maybe
like
that
even
explains
before,
a bit.
I think I don't know. I think it was him and Maya and Jimbo and I forget who else. I'm forgetting who else was original.
It was good, and it's true. The millennial labyrinth. That's actually pretty good.
Millennial Tranimal.
I love. Why aren't you in a war zone then? War seems cringe. Violence is what? The supreme authority in which all other authorities derive from. Every person lives some frauded existence for survival. Most of us live in far too comfortable lives that we would ever want to go against that forbidden desire to punch somebody who pisses us off on the railway, because most of us know that we are that blood that people want.
I remember that one Chris.
Everyone likes falling down, but everyone doesn't want to remember the fact that he gets killed at the end.
Who? Oh yeah, that's right.
And also the fact that there are quite a few people that can make a very convincing case that, you know, his character's a loser.
Hello, media literacy. You're not supposed to root for defense. He's a loser. Don't you understand?
Who cares?
I know. No, but that reminds me of that one interview I watched way back in the day. It was Chris Hedges promoting his book Empire of Illusion, and as you know, the first I was thinking of doing a content minded solely on pro wrestling and a few other things, but and it's depressing because like pro wrestling nowadays is not in a good state. But he was it was an interview promoting the book because the first chapter was about professional wrestling, and he goes, well, when you think of it, he goes, I forget the exact quote, but he says, you know, the WWE is like a fantastical world of violent ballet and where all morality is out the window, where in fact you can go and work tomorrow like Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can stun your boss and punch him in the face if he's pissing you off. It's like, and that's why like sort of like the cathartic release of it. But
it's fake and as gay as it seems. I mean, I think that's a big reason why it attracts so many is that it's a simulacre of the innate desire to just like punch your boss on the way out of your office.
Yeah, well, even like what they did when Shawn Michaels came back after like for 5 years, his back was bad. I lost my smile. What they did was he became like in real life, he became like a born again Christian. And then they had this bit where this was like, you know, peak, like going into 2008. It was like right after 2008. It was like first term Obama. And it was him versus in a program against JBL. And JBL was no longer the like Bradshaw, the like APA redneck. But now he was John Bradshaw Layfield. He was like this rich Texas millionaire oil magnate that had like, you know, get rich quick. He kind of like had this book, like Art of the Deal. You know, remember Trump had Art of the Deal?
Yeah.
And so it was like the poor working man Christian trying to support his family, Shawn Michaels, against the evil billionaire oil baron. And then, of course, they had the program with Eddie Guerrero where it's like the poor Hispanic immigrant against the rich racist Texan or JBL. And you know what they did? They would never do this now. JBL filmed a segment where they went to the Texas border and he was like kicking out migrants that tried to illegals that tried to go through. And he's like, get out of here. He like joined one of those Minutemen group militia groups. And he was like kicking out the illegal. Oh my god!
They say that pro wrestling doesn't have any good role models for your children to follow.
And then, of course, all the like the Reddit R² circle people like, do you know that JBL was a heel, right? You're not supposed to cheer for JBL when he's kicking out the migrants. But it's very funny. No, but the point being is that you know, that thread is great because from what I've heard in the sort of descriptions and biographies of people who have actually been to war, is that it is like that. It's sort of like a terrifying, grinding boredom, but it's also punctuated by random violence. And there's sort of like a shredding of the nerves either way. And people aren't like really capable of handling that. I mean, there was this whole debate. I wouldn't call it a debate because it was sort of like an embarrassment. I was very embarrassed. The last time I was that embarrassed for Scott Greer was when he was on BTR and he had to deal with these idiots that Lev put up. It was so embarrassing. I was apologizing so profusely to Scott Greer. But the debate with him and Tim Fool.
Oh God, it was awful.
The Civil War debate.
It was awful.
It was awful.
Tim is a historically illiterate moron. He's like, do you really think that the militias in Georgia were really, you know, ready to go against the Georgian government? You mean the state government that voluntarily seceded from the Union? What? Tim.
What was that point Scott Greer was trying to make where it was like the state was also like the people also rebelled against their states or whatever.
Well, and also, I mean, also the Greer was also talking about like, listen, there's no bleeding Kansas that's happening right now. Like there is already, because prior to the Civil War, there was already paramilitary violence going on in the expansive out west territories, and it's just like, jeez, I just wanted to blow my brains out. It was awful.
No, I know that Internet Friend had a spat with Scott Greer on the TL over anime, or was it over youth culture? I forget. And no, Tim Pool Vingal did not retire his show yet, but he said he might pack it in.
Did he fire any of his staff?
Yes, he fired like that pothead. He fired like a bunch of people, and basically his wife is like doing slave labor.
Wait a second. Pause. He has a wife?
apparently he just got married. He's thinking of having a kid, and that's why he wants to like scale things down. Yeah, but it was like the wife, like I forget the story with Kriegler. Like he tried to
outstanding.
He tried to like muscle his girl or whatever. Like he tried to flex on his fly girl, Adam Kriegler. But then like Tim Pool was just like kind of like a creepy incel type. The pothead is still there. Okay, I spoke too soon. There's a great Argent stream. Like I think the Kino Casino one's covering it are all right, but I really like the 2-hour Argent stream because Argent goes into more of like the business side of it. But really, like at the end of the day, I truly believe that it was essentially Tim Pool just trying to grift and say like trying to e-bag like poor is me. Like, you know, I live in this Branch Davidian compound with my skate park. But like, Tim, why don't you just downsize your Branch Davidian comp? Why don't you like, you know, get rid of your Mount Carmel and have like a sensible studio like the Daily Wire or whatever, the Blaze or whatever. And no, I can't because my skate park and my security 24-hour security guard and people swap me and maybe they're gonna get the ATF. They're gonna take what's his name? The guy, you know, the guy from Ruby Ridge and Waco, the Asian sniper.
Yes.
They're gonna like get him out of retirement for Tim Pool.
Tim slept with Lydia, but that was the drama.
That was okay. That's what it was. Yeah. I think he's got a different wife or whatever now. But
well, I just remember not too long ago where he was just basically saying, he's just like, well, I'm 30-something years old and I don't have a wife. Like, clearly there's a problem. And it's just like, is there? There's a problem, but the call is coming from inside the house. Goodness gracious.
Lydia was Lydia Adam Kriegler's girlfriend? That
you are going to have... Why are we talking about drama we don't really know much about?
Yeah,
why are we mindlessly gossiping?
It's not really that interesting because it's Tim Pool. Like it's non-tent.
Correct. Non-tent. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, drama, sure, if you say so. I'm not really in the mood for it.
We'd rather talk about Fish Tank.
Ugh. I didn't know that there was a Fish Tank at all, or season 3.
Yeah.
Until someone had talked about the Trump-Rogan interview allegedly not being found on YouTube, and then it was just like, oh, it's because all the views went to Fish Tank season 3. Someone replied to that to you in one of your tweets or somewhere, and I was like, what on earth? But it's still going.
They got this,
I should know about what my mutuals are doing on Twitter since he follows me for some reason.
They got this guy that got kicked out of Big Brother because he dropped the hard R. Anyways, Tim Pool. But that debate was kind of like, I watched most of it, but it was just like, I didn't really understand even. Like, it wasn't a very coherent debate. It was just like Tim Pool interrupting Scott Greer, and it didn't go anywhere.
Oh, so just like every debate where a reasonably well-read person goes on to talk to like the establishment normie media, and it's like it was almost as if historically illiterate white man goes to try and talk to just the uninformed masses, and it reminds me of that old Peterson Channel 4 interview from like almost 10 years ago at this point. So what you're saying is, and it's like, no, like let the man finish talking. Just let him finish talking.
Well, you know, speaking of millennials in that thread, I can't help but notice on the sidebar there on X is apparently Richard Dawkins debated Jordan Peterson. It's like, isn't that like a throwback to like the millennial new atheist? Like, I remember one time it was like a Reddit thread comment, and it was this guy. He said like, I'm getting dinner ready and I can't wait to watch debate between William Lane Craig and Christopher Hitchens. And I'm like, oh man, it's kind of like, and this was way back. This is like 2009. So it's like, I guess it's like the revival of like the Soylenials are having like the last kick at the can by having Jordan Peterson debate Richard Dawkins. But what can they debate? Because you know why? Because like they're kind of like more similar than they're apart. Like I think Peterson tries to play up like a kind of like secularized psychologizing of faith in the world religions, whereas like Dawkins has become like more quote unquote anti-woke. Yeah, Dawkins is definitely weird now. Exactly, Langdon. Like it's sort of they agree more in as time goes on than they agree less, because I think the new atheists, because the new atheists back in the day, they definitely did skew left. They definitely were like weirdo, like left libertarians, and they definitely like they did flirt with things like Marxism and socialism, but they also had like a science-based worldview that really like only white people are interested in. And so like they realized that it was mostly white men that built up the new atheist movement, with the exception of that one like big tit chick that was, do you remember Rational Response Squad? It was that chick. It was the woman married to the guy from Rational Response Squad.
Yes,
And she
yes.
always like flashed her tits everywhere. And apparently then there was the other ones. Then of course you have Atheism Plus. Apparently Rebecca Watson did a video mentioning some friends of ours. Let me look this up. She did Skepchick, whatever.
Friends of ours.
Maybe not friends of ours, but Skepchick. She did this video.
Man, skeptics. That's oldman.gigachat. That feels old to hear the word skeptic.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, no, she did a video trying to take down what's his name? Ed Dutton.
Ed Dutton.
Spiteful Mutant Theory.
But
Because,
Ed Dutton hasn't done anything wrong.
No, but he's an evil racist, and of course Rebecca Watson's audience is filled with spiteful mutants, so of course she's got to like counter signal. Very funny. I should watch it. I can't stand Rebecca Watson. I can't. But then of course was she the one that tried to Me Too Richard Dawkins? Or was it someone else?
That's a great question. Let's find out real quick. Richard Dawkins.
Remember, like it was the elevator.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
When did the Me Too thing really kick off?
It was about like 2015, 2017,
2015, 2014.
Yeah.
I feel like he had some issues there. Oh, it was Rebecca Watson with Elevator Gate. You're absolutely right.
No, Rebecca Watson wouldn't show her tits. It was the wife of the Rational Response.
She didn't even look that good in 2009. Like, now you're 44. Goodness gracious, come on.
No, but the thing is, she doesn't even like really have to like address anything that Ed Dutton says. She just has to say that this is like scientific racism, and that's
imagine if these two people were related. Newgloff. Imagine if they were related. Just imagine. Yeah, you just made me say Rebecca Watson on the air. Like, what year is this?
I know, eh?
Gosh,
it's crazy.
Ugh.
I can't really It's I can't in good conscience actually watch a Rebecca Watson video, but I can almost guarantee that if I were to watch it, it would be, she wouldn't like actually read the book Spiteful Mutants. She would just say that like this is eugenics, this is like Ed Dutton being a scientific racist, which I mean, to be fair, he is a scientific racist, but that's not the point. Like, who cares? It's like, are you going to like actually address his argument? Are you going to like actually take down his book? Probably not. But anyways, to be fair, Ed Dutton's a midwit. I don't think Ed Dutton's a midwit. I think that, I mean, I disagree with Ed Dutton. Like, you know, he does have I think he has a PhD in religious studies, but like, he does have like some kind of midwit takes on religion, but I don't think that he's a midwit as a whole. I think he's like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't really critique him from that angle. I think that he's a pretty smart guy. And he's got a very interesting theory. I mean, I disagree with him in certain ways, but yeah, Dutton's just sort of affable autist, really. I mean, I think. Anyways, why are we talking about these people? They're so Rebecca Watson's so irrelevant. It's just
you brought them up.
No, I know. I shouldn't. But I just saw in the sidebar that Dawkins is debating. I really think like that was like gonna be like before Dawkins kicks the bucket, because he is like 80-something years old. That would really be like the final debate would be like Peter, like the millennials are having one kick at the can again, which is millennial, like Peterson versus Dawkins. That's like really,
and of course, you know, Dawkins is born in what, 41? He's like 83 years old. You know, like he's not, and you can't even qualify him as baby boomer. He's technically silent generation, but still, this is where you're at.
Yeah. Exactly, Langdon. I'm doing the weave. Yeah.
The weave.
So we're gonna weave to horror movies, and then we're gonna weave to I don't know, man. Like me and Prude were talking about like if we should do some Halloween stuff this stream. I don't have anything to particular.
I feel as if Halloween sort of loses its luster when it's an election year.
Yeah.
Thank God, horror films. Oh man, I hate to break it to you. I did not want to talk about this crap at all.
I mean, I could have dug up that one like Julie Kristeva essay on horror films, but like we would both have to read it, and it just, you know what I mean? Like we could do that, but like tomorrow, next week we have to cover the election, so it's like.
The real horror is our political situation. So true.
Goth girls for Trump.
Goth girls for Trump. I loved that tweet. I loved that tweet that was posted earlier today. Where oh gosh, where is it? I retweeted it because it was just
the Boreal Baron one.
No. That one was interesting. No, this guy named Valentine on Twitter had said he was quote tweeting this guy called Arian Trend Mason, who apparently he follows me. They just got like nearly 20K followers. But anyways, he had said Trump got hot goth girls working the security rallies and you're blackpilling. This was from the Madison Square Garden thing. And Valentine quote tweets it saying, these aren't goth, you know, these are white women. You like women who are Caucasian. Stop being afraid to say that you prefer white women. And he's kind of like going off and
that tweet. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, that got 100,000 views. But it was just like, you know,
it's because she has black nail polish.
Yeah. Well, I guess that does it. But black nail polish is all it takes to be a goth chick these days. Good to know.
Well, the Zoomers don't.
She's an absolute stunner, though. I will give her that. She's an absolute stunner.
Is it true that she's Jewish, though?
I have no idea.
She's like half Italian. She's related to Mussolini. Is that true?
Can we hope?
Maybe.
Could we hope that some long-distant relative to Mussolini is like working security at the Madison Square garden bit there? But
on the Terrifier trilogy.
Redneck Adjacent says, I've never engaged in the chat until this episode adds a whole new dimension to the show. Yes, Redneck Adjacent, you have become the third chair to the show. Welcome so much for joining. You are now part of the cast of characters of the Digital Archipelago. Welcome. So there you go.
It's kind of like Night Owls, though. They bring people up.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll bring people up.
For some Zoomers, it is only black nail polish, not for what is... Oh, I don't even want to know what that is.
Wait, Zoomers actually do wear black nail polish still?
I've noticed that it's also a lot popular with some like college-age Zoomer kids, and I don't mean just girls, but guys as well. It's strange.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, like that was even guys used to wear, like in the nu metal days.
Yeah.
Like Jonathan Davis during Woodstock, he had the black nail polish, and that was no, I didn't know what Terrifier was, but apparently it's on Tubi, so I probably will watch Terrifier 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, King Cobra, he always had the black nail polish. And remember, like King Cobra, like he shacked up with that crazy chick, but then like in a matter of a week, he like kicked her out. And she was like, I want to be, you know, impregnated by you, and your simps and pay pigs are going to pay for it. And it's like, and King Cobra's like, get the hell out. Like, it's just...
Pay pig child support.
Yeah, pay pig child support.
I appreciate you boys introducing Night Owls, because that is great. It's hit or miss.
Yeah.
It's hit or miss.
Well, I mean, the last one was pretty
We
good.
love our Nightmare Vision. We kind of love Future Moldovan Citizen. But no, it's a good, you know, if you're a Twitter guy, that's the place to go. If you go to YouTube for your content on the news, we're your place to go. It just happens to be the case.
Yeah.
First time I saw Night Owls, it was at 1 p.m. Well, you know, they're both busy men, you know.
Yeah,
they're
they do
both
it much earlier now.
They're both also because they have to get like guests on, because they've had guests.
Yeah.
They had Jeremy Carl on one time. Although I had to laugh because like Pat Casey was like, "Thanks for the 50,000 Twitter followers," and then Jeremy Carl of all people was like, "Wait a second, you're not Jewish." And I was like, "Oh no, what is this?"
There's enough gripers to call Pat Casey Jewish, so like I guess Jeremy Carl. He's
Jeremy
not, like,
Carl. Oh no, well,
I wonder if Jeremy Carl actually does think that like Patrick Casey like came into existence online in like 2021.
No.
He knows the lore.
Jeremy is kind of familiar, yeah.
Maybe we should admit that in public. I shouldn't say it because like I think Jeremy Carl, if he like really has stuck his neck out in his career, publishing a book about white people in 2024, that pretty much is sticking your neck out in terms of your career, in terms of like mainstream acceptability.
Yeah, but that book is right.
Yeah, but like, and they let him do it, so it's just.
Well, there were a lot of concessions that had to get made in for that book to be published.
Yeah,
virtually everything on a certain, on a certain issues or groups got scrubbed out, much to his chagrin.
You really do,
and also the original, guy. And then also the original title was supposed to be "It's Okay to Be White."
That would have never got published.
Well, I know. I only know these things because he told me. Because I interviewed him when the book came out.
Yeah,
like half a year ago at this point.
I remember
that. But no, it was a good book.
No, but you need a solid guy like Jeremy Carl. Like you need a guy like him or Stephen Miller. Like you need someone who actually like knows what they're doing and actually knows how to do the research and like is not afraid to like. Can do it professionally, but is also not afraid to like drift into like very like wrong conclusions about things. And I feel like, a lot of Spurgs, they, it is what it is, but it's just like, you do need people like that can be at least passable to normies, kind of like Gordon McIntyre.
He's just Floridian.
Yeah.
He's just from Florida, and I'm pretty sure there's some Cherokee in him, but it's as Scots or it's Welsh as it gets for him.
Yeah, probably. But anyways,
yeah. I thought Night Owls was Ramsey and his. Oh yeah, because he does that on Rumble or whatever. Because I know that there's a guy on Rumble or BitChute that records all of the like Twitter Night Owls episodes, and if you try and look them up, you get all of the Ramsey Paul shows.
Yeah. Oh man,
it's nuts. Because I just tried to look at them, and it's like, I can't believe we almost went 40 minutes without a certified "it is what it is." But it is what it is. We're all standing here with bated breath because we know in just a matter of days, America gets to go through the procedural kabuki theater in 8 days of deciding who is going to be the next president of the United States, who is going to host both houses of Congress and numerous gubernatorial elections. And we're all going to wait with bated breath, knowing that the process is going to probably take a month in some places, and everyone is determined to say that it's not going to be like last time. We are going to overcome. Everyone is chasing the mythical dragon of black tar heroin that was the energy of 2016 because the stakes feel higher, and someone's tweets and videos have been retweeted by some of the richest and most popular people in the world. So everyone is in the opium den of hype. And we're here to enjoy it. But at the same time, there's that niggling feeling in the back of your head that tells you things could go very wrong very quickly. But the stakes have been set up. Everything is ready to go. The die is cast, and we will find out in 8 days how things go.
Yeah, we'll see.
For it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, like we say, like you always, the hopium does sort of like give me a sinking feeling in some ways because I can't like really shake the feeling that like if he loses, it'll be like a huge morale defeat. And put it this way, my thing, I could be wrong, but if it's a very close election, if it's a very close election, then it will go to Trump no matter what. Sorry, no. Sorry, the opposite. If it's very clear that Trump is ahead by at least 10 points, he's winning. If it's a very close neck and neck 2000 style election, then it's not going to be Trump. I'm sorry. They're probably going to do some kind of funny business. And I know that's like not a really like, that's not like a galaxy brain nuclear truth nuke take, but I think that if it's very, very close, the odds of Trump actually winning exponentially goes down in terms of there are enough people in the regime that like there are people that say that there's rival elites that have made peace, not rival elites, but there's factions of the elite that have made peace with Trump winning, and they could find ways to co-opt him or whatever. But there's a huge section of the left liberal elites that just will do anything in their power to prevent him from winning. So if it's very, very close, I would say that there's probably going to be some kind of like 2020 funny business going on. But if by midnight Trump is ahead 10 points, yeah, he's gonna win no matter what. But it's like I still remain skeptical. I want Trump to win. I think that
correct.
I'm of Barack Obama's opinion that there will be so many disastrous consequences for another 4 years of the Democrats. But at the same time, I mean, even if Trump doesn't win, I mean, will it be totally over? I don't like. It's never really totally over. Like the accelerationist play could be a factor, but I think that Trump winning obviously would put people in a better position. So I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Like it's just I think that even if Trump loses, I'm not getting me wrong, it will be a disaster. But there are certain things that probably could be salvageable. Especially imagine this. If Kamala wins, but then there's like another Summer of Floyd that they've not engineered, like the first one, or if there's some cataclysmic event in terms of race relations in America that then the Democrats would be holding the bag for, that would be like, I wouldn't say civil war. That's like too fantastical, but definitely there would be a level of unrest that people would tangibly feel. Unlike the Summer of Floyd, where people just had to like lay down and take it more or less because of like the culmination of like post-Obama race relations in America. So but then the problem would be that if Trump does win and he's not allowed to do anything, then that also will be kind of like we'll all have eggs in our faces. And I don't think people are ready to like really hear the implications of that, because I mean, hopefully that there's enough smart people around Trump this time, because there has been like a rival elite allowed to percolate around Trump that he could probably pick some good people. Whereas the first time it was like a total, like the antibodies of the regime just had to like attack him and it was no matter what. And maybe Trump could be the AZT that just destroys the immune system of the regime. Don't look up that. You know what that is, right?
We just made a lovely AIDS reference. There we go.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
There you go.
Yeah, Tim Pool will start it. Why not? If you're gonna throw out some random ideas, why not? Let have little Timmy boy start it off there. He can skateboard his way straight into there. But
well,
no,
let me read you this.
I'm not here to. I'm actually not black-pilled on the issue. I want lovely AIDS reference equals band name. Oh, that would be not a half bad band name for like some, I guess, incel core,
grindcore
kind of band, like like Front Seat Headrest or whatever, and then like collaborates with lovely AIDS reference.
There was that punk band back in the day called Short Bus Pile Up. That's too much. That's
a great name. What do you mean, Short Bus Pile Up?
Yeah.
That's like Two Door Cinema Club. It has that like ring to it. It's like, oh, what are you listening to? Oh, I was just jamming out to like Short Bus Pilot. That would be great. We need to go back to that.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's got like a like longer band names, but they have like the jour de vie to it, like Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yeah, no, they're good names.
Oh man, you gotta be kidding me, Sigma Chud. Oh my god.
Oh, you've distracted him with the grand old scheme that is the opium of all real Canadians, which is
hockey. Because I thought, if the Maple Leafs managed to so the Winnipeg Jets, they have a 8-game winning streak. They've won all their games. And so if Toronto actually manages to beat them, that'd be like a huge
sorry,
upset.
Penultimo just made me really laugh. Imagine Tim published a video with some guy said calling himself to be the president, like that one guy. Tim Pool is like the next Justin Moan, like he's got like the head of Adam Kriegler in a bag, and he's just like, I am the president of the United States, Civil War starts now, read my books, and they're all like schizo classics.
Wait, the Jets are up 3-0. Oh God.
Oh
okay, yeah,
God.
it's just as I predicted. The Leafs are cooked.
Just as he predicted. It's over. It's so over. That's okay. It's okay to be over.
But no, wait, it's the Maple Leafs, you idiot. Like, what are you talking about? The Maple Leafs are cooking the Jets. You people are trying to confuse me. Are you kidding me? It's sort of like Ghost, where like the Ghost would have like these different trolls that have like tried to, they tried to like confuse him. Like you guys should change your names to like Gio is communist, or like like he'd have these troll names in the chat, and then he'd have to like declare chat room martial law, which is like to close down the chat. Do you remember Ghost? You guys remember Ghost?
No.
True Capitalist Radio.
Puck-servative Gio. That's good. That one's a good one.
Well, it's funny, Puck-servative, because like in Canada and Ontario, there's becoming like this strange divide where like libtards, they enjoy soccer, because Canada has like a bunch of soccer leagues now. So like the libtards, they enjoy soccer, whereas like the real chuds, they still stick to hockey. But Justin Moan, I remember that one tweet, I think it was by Content Enjoyer, that said even though he was like a total libcock, that's still a good start for the incel uprising. I'm like, what? I think I capped that one.
So the best podcast on Justin Moan has still been Tukey's Mag, the Sidebar podcast. They did a whole episode on his books, because Capitalissimo is the sole proprietor of physical copies of his music and all of his Amazon books. It's nuts.
That was the best. Like in his book, he kept going, huh? Like it kept like that's such a millennial thing, huh? Like,
curious.
Like he sees the devil eat someone's face. He's just like, huh? Like,
interesting. Satan is real. Huh? Curious. Yeah,
no. You saw the devil eating someone's face. What would you say? It wouldn't be
be probably shitting myself, man. Like that'd be like, oh boy, the enemy is right in front of me eating some dude's face. I better cross myself and get the hell out of Dodge. But yeah, how strange. Wowza. Yikes. Not cool. Oh no, get that. We're muting that word. I'm putting that word on my mute list. None of that. You take that shit to the Sunflower Society. You take that back to Telegram. You take that back to Canada and the Sunflower Society. You can go spit on that thing somewhere else. Get out of here.
Sigma Chud Geo, time to start streaming the Leafs live. Kind of like that one guy, Steven Dangle. I could do that. I could be, I could do that. But anyways, do we want to talk about horror films? I guess we teased it, so.
Gio, you sound so desperate to not talk about anything else. It drips off of you like a cheap knockoff Stetson.
Because I'm tired of this shit, man. I'm not even American.
You gotta wait 8 more days for this shit to be over with. You're still doing a post-coital like election stream on a fucking Thursday because we're not covering an election night. This is where we are at. We're out of touch. I'm out of time. I've tawed too close to the sun. It's over. You know what's a good horror film? Any media you've taken of your own life, because you are the person that inevitably endangers your own soul over anybody else you encounter. So go ahead. Look at the record of your content. Look at everything you've ever tweeted on your timeline of the years you've been on there, and realize that one day it all comes to an end and you have to answer before the dread judgment seat, and all of a sudden you have a conveniently made timeline for him to read out as you determine, oh, fuck, I'm going to hell.
Oh, you made me bite my tongue. Fuck. Oh, God.
As for good horror films.
No,
I am quite.
You go up to the pearly gates and you have to like explain to what a goon cave is to St. Peter.
Oh, it's not like he doesn't know.
Yeah, that's true.
He's like, wow, another one. Huh,
I
sad.
actually did bite my tongue. It's because of my nicotine gum. That's why. But anyways,
I should get better. I should get more images for my OBS virtual cam to switch in and out of.
Yeah. There was like a few.
All right. So, quick question then, Gio. In regards to horror films, what is your preferred thing? Are you more into the slasher? Are you more into the thriller, psychological horror, or are you more into like the supernatural, spiritual, demonic?
I always preferred. I mean, I know this is like very Millennial and they've like ruined it, but like, I always preferred like the zombie thing because I do like I guess more like gun fu orientated horror where like a group of people have to survive together on like either fighting off some kind of creature or zombies or something like that. Like I always like those type of survival horror type of films. But then I am a sucker for the more like big brained, like, you know, like the more big brain, like thinking man's horror, kind of like Martyrs or other films of that nature. And it's funny you mentioned that you did that World War II movie with Rutger Hauer.
Yes, with Rutger Hauer.
Rutger Hauer, yeah. Kind of like Rutgers University. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, or at least that's how I've heard
Rudiger, it. Yeah. No, but I'm actually reviewing it. I think it's this Sunday. I'm recording.
So what are you reviewing with him?
I'm reviewing Itchy the Killer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna pay for the last picture show anyway, so I look forward to your review.
Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be the best. It was a toss up between. I was thinking of doing Arabella Black Angel or like another Giallo film, but like I figure like that's too like gratuitous and like it's filled with sex and like, but Itchy the Killer really does have like a lot of very, very interesting setup and backstory, and it's got like, you know, a lot of theory cell content. It was a toss between that or Affliction. But see, I always wanted to review Affliction in tandem with the film The Pledge. So if you want to give me $100 for that on my channel, then like, I mean, is
that the Paul Schrader movie, the crime film Affliction?
Affliction's the one with was it Nick Nolte?
Yeah, no, Paul Schrader directed it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And The Pledge is with Jack Nicholson, where he's trying to find a child iller, and he like destroys himself in this like small town. It's very amazing. It's a great film. Yeah. Takashi Miike made a lot of sick films. Yeah, he did. Like, but Itchy the Killer, it's like it is funny, it is sadistic, and it's got a lot of like, let me put it this way, like libidinal undertones. So it's gonna be a great review
with strong libidinal overtones. Like I just imagine you punishing Last Things as he has to talk about like Japanese sadomasochism.
Yeah.
See, I go on the show and Last Things is like, well, Prude, you're trying to get me canceled. And I'm like, we're talking about a nice, clean, alternate history movie where some tragedies took place. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know?
People are asking me, is John Tavares cooked? No, I tend to believe that John Tavares is cooked, but he does have moments where he'll come out and he'll like, I think he scored a goal tonight, but like, I don't know, man, he's getting old. Like, what do you want? Like, he's got, you know, all of his best years was with the Islanders. But anyway, so about horror, like I wanted to read this part from Kristeva. This is about the theory of abjection, and it comes very close to a good mutual of ours in his philosophy. So Kristeva defines the abject to each ego its object. So this is from the Cole Hill review. To each ego its object, to each superego its abject. It is not the white expanse or or slack boredom of repression, not the translations and transformations of desire that wreck bodies, nights, and discourse. Rather, it is the brutish suffering. Then she continues this motif further, explicating in poetic terms her vision, but the core point has been made. Within the Lacanian framework, the abject is the central waypoint on the definition of the relation of the personal ego with the greater world. It is not just the presence of disgust or horror, but the entire gamut of suffering we encounter. Because you have to remember, like, in the double movement of horror is that there's the outside, which is going to subvert normalcy. That's like the basic setup for any horror film, is that there's an outside force that is subverting normalcy, but that force is also both inflicting suffering, but also a creature of suffering. So abjection is also defined as so teach ego its object, teach superego its abject. So in other words, it's something that is in defiance of the superego, but something that's not really derived from pleasure, but it's derived from suffering. So you can see that, like, this is the basis of most horror films. So then Kristeva later notes, the abject is for Dostoevsky, the object of the possessed is the aim and motive of an existence whose meaning is lost in absolute degradation because it's absolutely rejected the moral limit, a social, religious, familial, and individual one. And of course, she gets this from Bataille, as absolute God. Therefore, the abject is the fulcrum. It is which we use as our compass of moral regulation by default. It is knowing when you had too much to drink or when someone is not a person you wish to invite to your party. However, it does not end there. The abject is also the horrors that, via their totality and catastrophic nature, cause a sense of awful wonder. A rock hitting a multi-floor apartment tower, a bridge that falls and fails, cars, people, and all into a cold river below. Those are the things that are abject. When human design and the intent of malice come into play, the situation is even more dire and often more horribly enchanting. There is a photo from a school video camera of Columbine Illers, Daniel Klebel, and Eric Harris stalking through the school with weapons in hand that I should see republished in multiple articles about their murderous rampage. Why should we tolerate seeing this, much less wish to see it? What is the draw of the obscene? It represents the horror. It shows us the murderers beyond any question of their acts or their evil nature. When we hear a ship has sunk, we wish to see the abject act. A ship sunk in the bottom, verily sinking, not an empty ocean of its aftermath. So in other words, abjection is that process of horror. It's something that reminds you, but also it's like a form of, like, being outside the law. It's being outside the nobleness of a civilization. And therefore, like, abjection could be like an internalized abjection. And it whereas, like, Kristeva, like, does all the typical, like, libtard, like, oh, like, the bi-POCs are abjected from the social order, blah, blah, blah. And she's basically getting this from, like, Agamben and Bataille. But also abjection could be like that immediate response of both intrigue and disgust from what lies outside. And this is a setup of all horror films. So Miami Virtue brings up, I wonder what Dario Argento would have made of the recent Suspiria reimagining. Would have enjoyed the sapphic cannibalism. I think he would, because, I mean, all giallos like that, they do have... Okay, I was going to save it for reviewing it with Lastings, but because I'm not reviewing that giallo, I'll say it now. Notice how in giallos, there's always an element of eroticism, along with, like, bloody slasher horror and detective mystery. It's like Italian noir. Because Italians, let me tell you, have a very, like, both repressed but intriguing nature towards the erotic. We can't help ourselves. We're terminally horny all the time. So therefore, that act of both sexuality and death and murder have this, like, weird intrigue. There's a lot of, like, lesbianism implied in giallos. There's a lot of, like, people getting redacted in the act of sexuality. And that's for a purpose, right? Because that libidinal economy is also very tied into the sort of overall picture of the abject. So it's like the Italians, more than anyone else, have this, like, weird connection to that which facilitates both life and death, which is sexuality. So without the erotic, Italians become sclerotic. Exactly. Yeah. We're horny, creepy old men. That's what, That's what it is.
Inside every Italian is Matteo Salvini.
Yeah. Let me read a little bit more. According to Kristeva, Jorge Luis Borges before her has already defined the object and abjection, though not in those expressed words, as key to the cruel drive of all literature. Kristeva describes Borges' declared objective of literature as vertiginous and hallucinatory. All tales told are, after all, narratives of the infamous. And with Borges' leitmotif of noir and reliance on the detective story's tropes, abjection is rife in his work. Yet abjection does not negate hope. Abjection, Kristeva explains, is the realization of disgust and the ability to process something from the point of being disgusting, repulsive, to the complexity of horror. While animals can be repulsed by something, a decaying corpse, an example, their response to such an incident is predicated on disgust more than horror. For the human, horror quickly pushes simple disgust out of the picture. A corpse unexpectedly encountered may be disgusting, but soon the primary raw emotion is one of horror and fear. Why is there a dead body here? Why is it unexpected? Is there a murder? Is the killer still on the loose? Could I be the next victim? Kristeva further remarks that abjection, quote, becomes a substitute for the role formerly played by the sacred, at the limit of social and subjective identity, but we are dealing here with sublimation without consecration, forfeited. The horror is that which cannot be integrated. The horror is that which is, like the sacred, cannot be integrated into ordinary life.
Sounds deportable. What cannot be integrated? Sounds right. Deport the horror. Problem solved.
Exactly. I think
okay, so just that was a lot of words to simply say the outsider, the unknown, the incomprehensible, and disgust in the reaction is the logical capability to understand it.
Well, but it goes deeper than that, though. Like there's disgust, but also like disgust, it becomes a gateway of intrigue. So like kind of like with the Gomben when it comes to the Homo sacer, like the object is both something that is excluded and outside of the moral order, but is something that also you cannot deny its presence. It's this funny thing. You, instead of like a total, like what Freud would call like a total psychic denunciation, there's always like a limited capacity for like at least a partial integration that always translates into fear of the unknown, intrigue. So it's almost like there's that act of partial integration, but also rejection at the same time. Whereas like simple disgust would just be like a total rejection. So it's like, it's that like liminal possibility of something that's outside the law. Exactly. Disgust is defiance against entropy, because that's what horror is. It's basically entropy. It's basically chaos. It's the unknown. It's that which lies outside. So, there you go.
Well, there you go.
But what will be your favorite horror? What's your favorite horror?
I'm not sure I have a...
You're not a horror head?
Well, there are some movies that are... I don't go out of my way. So much of the modern stuff has just been so damn formulaic. Like, the last horror film I watched in theaters that I really, really enjoyed was Don't Breathe. Because I thought it was a unique twist on sort of the slasher or the killer type deal, because he's blind, so everything is based off sound, and the sound editing for that movie is really good. And so I like that one a lot, but I like a lot of older films that have much more in-depth social commentary than I guess I do just like, because you can kind of tell with a lot of horror films, especially anything made in the last 25 years, you kind of begin to see where things come out of their way, and it's like, oh, there's the crescendo, or oh, there's the filter that everyone kind of knows, and it's just like, huh, it's like, okay, got it.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of know what's coming, but it doesn't mean that there aren't some good ones that haven't stuck out. I liked Hereditary a lot. The social commentary to Midsummer, not a fan of. I mean, but of course it's meant to just more or less sort of just demonize these like folksy white people. No thanks.
Well, Midsummer is like a discourse machine. That's basically like, it's for a video essayist. It's like by and for, YouTube video essayists.
Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah, like cinematic or whatever that one is. Cinematography. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yes, I know. Ari Aster, I'm not a fan.
yeah. Was Ari Aster the one that had that short film with the buck breaking, or no?
I'm almost positive it is short filmed. Yeah, wasn't it Bo or whatever?
Yeah, the father and the son, the buck breaking, yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that that's the case. I could be
I
wrong.
think you still find it on YouTube.
You can, and it's all kinds of fucked up. But I mean, there's some like gory like horror films or stuff that I liked. For instance, I really liked I really liked Wreck in 2007. There are some genre, like there's some zombie movies that I quite liked. I remember really enjoying. I'd have to rewatch it. I would really need something about the Johnsons. That what it was Marbly. That's correct. No, I really liked Dead Air. That I think it was like 2009. It was like a Channel 4 Big Brother spoof where like the zombie apocalypse is happening outside.
That one. You can find that on YouTube too.
It's so good. It is so good. I quite liked that. What else was another one that I really enjoyed?
28 Days Later was my favorite movie as a kid. So that and Ghost of Mars.
I really liked 28 Days Later. I probably watched that.
Yeah, apparently coming out with a new one next year, 28 Years Later.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I know that they just put out. I felt old because it was like, what the hell is? Why are we making another VHS movie in 2024? And it came out earlier this month, and I guess I'm gonna go watch it because from how it looks like, it feels very much like hardcore Henry in terms of how fast paced it's cut. The Thing is great. It's one of the GOAT. It's probably one of the best of all time. In terms of my favorite, would probably still be The Exorcist, because everyone focuses on the possession, but I think that the first half of the film is much hard hitting in horror because it's a mother who can't do anything to save her daughter.
Yeah. I like the one, people didn't like it though, but you know the one where they're in Africa? Was it Exorcist The Return or Exorcist The Beginning?
It's Exorcist 2.
Yeah, like that was the one with the lion, remember?
Yes, I'm not a fan of it.
No, you don't like it?
No, I was not a fan.
I love
The Exorcist 3. I just don't like because it's so campy. Number 2.
It's got a lot of like Gnosticism.
It's campy as shit.
Yeah, I know, but no, but like, is that the one where they're in Africa and they discover like the Gnostic temple cathedral?
I'd have to rewatch it. I'm almost positive because that's where you get the whole name of the demon and everything.
Yeah. I think that's what was the one.
Yeah, it's the second one.
Yeah, I do that rather well, don't you think?
Film has never done. That's very true. Film has never done justice. Yeah, the second one is Pazuzu Returns somehow.
Yeah.
Film has never done justice to Lovecraft. Probably best to read the books. Well, yeah, you should always read the. Especially
you should watch the Jordan Peele Lovecraft. No, I'm kidding.
Don't watch Lovecraft. I guess
no, but I like that Exorcist because one of my favorite albums ever is None So Vile by Cryptopsy, and like that was the beginning song. What song was it again? They have that sample, like I do that rather well, don't you think? And it's like then Lord Worm just like rips into it with the inaudible growling. I think what song is that? Anyways,
I'll let you look that one up.
Anyways, you were going on, yeah.
Oh, I do like John Carpenter's In the Mountains of Madness with Sam Neill. It's not a one-for-one obvious thing with the books or with the story, but it's a good film in its own right. You have a Red Sutter Kane, and it's just...
Crown of Horns. That's the song, Crown of Horns.
There you go.
Yeah. But no, but I like, people don't like 90s John Carpenter, but I love schlocky 90s John Carpenter. Like I love Ghosts of Mars. I love Vampires. Because like James Woods was like so great. I remember being a kid watching that. Like they like let him do his own lines. So like he was like dropping F slurs and he would like come up with these lines. It was very good, man. It was like very like Chad misogyny. It was like a very chuddish John Carpenter film. It had like Danny Baldwin, and it was good, man. I really love it. I love that. Like,
no, in the Mouth of Madness is what I'm saying, not Mountains of Madness. Forgive me there. I remember liking, when I was like a teenager, I remember liking The Village of the Damned. I'm sure for the wrong reasons. Vampires is great. I liked Christine, but that's early '80s John Carpenter. But I liked that one.
Just because Village of the Damned, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Like, that was great because like it's like such a like a chudlennial like video game. No, but it's funny because I remember Kino Corner, he did that video on Yui Bowl, and like I watched it recently because I always wanted to watch it when I was a kid. I only watched bits and pieces of House of the Damned, right? But then like I watched it like a few years ago, or like recently. I watched it recently. It was on Tubi, and I like, man, I got that. Like, this is like pure chudlennial. Like, it's got everything, man. Like, it's great. So Yui Bowl like really captured the zeitgeist of the time, of the early 2000s. That was really great. Like, I really liked it. I know people trash it because it's schlocky and it's nonsensical and it is kind of like camp, right? And it's based on a video game, and usually like video game movies are never great. I can't even think of like a very good video game movie, but like, you know what I mean? But it was great though. It was great. Like, it was like total chudlennial.
I don't think there's one that's been made.
There was that animation movie.
Correction. There's been plenty of video game adaptations or video games that have been turned into movies, but none of them have been good.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, video game movies. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
There was that one animation one with Halo. That was.
Oh yes, Halo Legends, where a bunch of Japanese studios got to make a bunch of shit, and the babysitter was fantastic. That's really,
I like Holy Man. I like that character, Holy Man.
That's probably my favorite one out of there. Let's see here. The recent Hellraiser film was presciently dysgenic coded for Kamala supporters.
Whoa!
Huh. All the Pokemon movies are Kino. Well, that's true. Well, I mean, like, Nintendo's going to have direct creative control over that now, aren't they?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's just like...
Well, Nintendo's Mario last year was good, but I should clarify. It's probably a Western Studios or a Western video game that gets a movie adaptation.
They don't have a House of Leaves movie, do they?
Do they? Let's go find out.
Volpez, like, you mean the book? Because the book is like one of my favorite books. But let me search this. House of Leaves.
No,
they don't have one. They were thinking of doing it. But then like, will there be a House of Leaves movie release date? Blah blah blah. So apparently they are thinking of doing a House of Leaves movie, but it's a very hard movie to film. That's like they say that like Blood Meridian could never be like put on film.
Oh, but they're gonna try. They're gonna try. Man. Oh, apparently they did make one?
What, a Blood Meridian film?
No. They're going to try. But no, I meant a House of Leaves.
Oh!
Are they actually going to try and make a movie out of it?
I think they're thinking of doing it. Yeah, so that'd be pretty interesting. Video game movie.
I'd like to see how they try, but I'm not.
Well, most video games are kind of like movies nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, even Call of Duty, they're like little films.
Well, I mean, consider how the storytelling aspect of video games has changed. I mean, like, consider, say, the Wing Commander series, where you had full motion video, live action cutscenes that were going to be filmed on set, and you had, Malcolm McDowell and fucking Mark Hamill in the 90s doing all these characters and bits. And of course, you had multiple endings and character choice. This kind of gets expanded later on after FMV dies out with Mass Effect and everything. So yeah, it's a perfect blend of storytelling and gameplay, which unfortunately nowadays it's not so much gameplay as is press button to continue your interactive movie, which sucks.
That's what it is, man. Like, but I don't know. Is it just because people's like creativity and attention spans are fried. Like, I know I asked a very stupid question last week, which is like, why can't video games be good? Like, it's like, if you're
Why
spending...
can't they be good? Damn,
Yeah.
that's a great question now, isn't it? You know?
There's a Canadian horror film called Living in Toronto.
There was a Wing Commander movie. Oh yeah, there was, wasn't there?
That's great, Sigma Chud. There's a Canadian horror film called Living in Toronto.
And it had, oh man, had fucking Freddie Prinze Jr. in it. Oh yeah, I remember
Holy
this.
shit, really?
Yeah, it was 1999.
What is Wing Commander?
It's a video game series, sir, that had you basically trying to fight an all-out war against a race of warrior cat people.
Did you win though? Like, do they scratch you? Like, what do they do?
Well, it's space combat.
Oh, and apparently Mark Hamill's in this.
I was just talking about this. Dear Lord.
No, but he was in the movie.
Yeah. I wouldn't
novels. Okay, Wing Commander film. Freddie Prinze Jr.
He's the voice in that movie.
Yeah, directed by Chris Roberts. And wait, Mark Hamill is not in it.
He's a voice credit.
Oh, okay.
He's in the games.
I hate Mark Hamill.
With good reason. Cruelty Squad, the movie, is actually the TV show Happy.
Yeah.
I'll let you play with that one. Yes, we already had the Kazinti. We would like some more. Man, the Man Kizin Wars and all that other great stuff. They knew what they were doing. They wanted it to be they wanted
to be Starship Troopers, which in itself was mediocre.
There are Overwatch films, but they're intended for
they have Overwatch films? What?
He's joking. He's referring to pornography.
Oh yeah, they have like Overwatch cosplay prawn. That's true. But isn't like the one character that everyone lusts over, isn't she like a lesbian in the film?
I think they made her a lesbian just to respond to the pornography in it.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because you could have like lesbian prawn too.
Tron is a video game movie. Not sure if that's considered good. You know, I think that Tron Legacy is fantastic, and not just because of the wonderful Daft Punk soundtrack, although that does elevate it. Hotline Miami would make a good movie, so just remake Hardcore Henry with more masks.
Idea for millennial horror film: SpongeBob the Spastic Slayer, Billions Gone. You know what's funny is that me and my friends used to do that. Like, we used to like come up with like weird ideas like that. Like what was that one we came up with? I think it was like something about like Geppetto. I don't know. Anyways,
well, I mean, Pinocchio is in the public consciousness, or it's in the public domain. Like, that's why it gets remade every few years.
Yeah,
you can, in the same way that like some shitty studio, as soon as Winnie the Pooh became public domain, they did that god awful. You know, was it like a Chinese studio that took it and was just like, yeah, we're gonna do it and make it work.
Apparently, the Chinese cinema is like actually like they're pouring millions of dollars into it. So.
Into their own?
Into their own cinema, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. A literary analysis of famous creepypastas is a millennial expression of horror.
Oh, definitely they're probably going to do that.
I'm sure someone, well, not just the sidebar, I was like, I'm sure someone is going to write their PhD about creepypastas.
People have.
Some English major is going to write his PhD thesis
Let me go.
on the volumes, the voluminous works of George Floyd creepypastas. It will happen.
JSTOR.
Creepypasta.
60 results.
See, there you go.
Yeah, journal article. Slender Man is Coming. Creepypasta and Contemporary Legends of the Internet by Trevor J. Blank. Lynn S. McNeil. Digital Folklorics. Text, Ethnography, and Interdisciplinarity.
More will come.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting.
Internet Fiction. Digital Affordances and New Media Fears. Yeah, there you go. Creepypasta has been written about by someone's PhD thesis. Yeah.
So we're an hour in. I promised that we were going to do this, and because I tweeted it out, and I want to be a man of my word. Our friend Morgoth wrote, but who was phone? An exhaustive study.
I guarantee you there's going to be a
Slenderman exercise video. It's just dodging knives. Gonna get stabbed by teenage girls.
There's gonna be like academic journals written about Skibidi Toilet probably.
Oh, of course! I can't wait to read it. I'm so excited to see the joke that is the Academy.
How many episodes of Skibidi Toilet are there?
I have no idea. I don't watch this stuff.
Is there like a playlist?
I'm sure that there is.
Skibidi Toilet, all episodes. Let's go to all episodes. Oh my god, 2 hours long? Is this what Gabe had to watch?
No, Gabe didn't watch it until after he did the episode. I'm surprised there's no Backrooms Netflix series at this point. Isn't Kane Pixel supposed to do something with like A24?
Yes, he's doing
it's gonna happen eventually. Olivia Wilde's feminist read and Don't Worry, Darling, I heard was total dog shit, of course. Yeah,
I hate Olivia Wilde. Yeah, it's too much.
Olivia Wilde.
I hate her as 13. Like she's a fedora tipper in real life too.
Oh, well, I liked her in House as 13 just because I was younger and I thought she looked good at the time.
I don't know. She's all right, I guess.
Gabe is a fake cell? Yeah, you didn't know this? Gabe is a fake cell, and he got it by... He just talked about it for 30 minutes. That's so true. He talked about how he got the
goes
clap.
To brothels, yeah. No, but is it true that Gabe did not watch Skibidi Toilet before recording that episode?
Yes.
So like
that's the joke.
He compared Skibidi Toilet to Proust without even watching it.
Correct. It was the most Zizek form of analysis. You talk about it by not watching it.
I'm watching like a second of this and it's terrible. I've watched the one where like they're like blowing up the city. That I only watched that one, but like.
Well, we're gonna go read an article, and
this is stupid.
Prude is the reluctant keeper of spinal catastrophism lore. I'm not a reluctant keeper of it. I've done 3 shows on it that have both been 2 hours long with dimes. You people get to suffer next month as we start reading through Anti-Oedipus.
Do Zoomers like actually watch this?
Gen Alpha does, that's for sure.
Like what? Something very Freudian here.
I mean, I was just told the other day by my friend whose little brother, who's like 6 or 7 years old, is going as a Skibidi Toilet or whatever they are for Halloween.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, you can go buy these things at fucking Walmart if you want.
Like, okay, there's like one, I think it's episode 4, where like they're in a restaurant, but like all the chairs are toilets. But then like just these Skibidi Toilet heads just like randomly burst into this restaurant while people are eating, and I guess they like slaughter everybody inside. Like, who knows, right? It's just
what a great time to be alive.
Yeah,
you wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it, Gio. You wouldn't get it.
I wouldn't get it, of course. Our brain rot was like.
My brain rot was Red versus Blue and the ASDF movie and the totally epic internet movie from Newgrounds that was like 30 minutes long. I am tired. We'll go fire the missiles and take a nap.
There was that one was it? I'm trying to. Okay, was it Red versus Blue? Oh no, but there was this animation where it was like a blue guy and a red guy. That was like I forget. It was like an.
My brain rot was on Newgrounds, good sir.
Yeah, my brain rot was like stickdeath.com.
Yes, the end of the world. Thank you.
The end of the world. That was so great. Yeah, wimp.com. Wimp.com. The end of the world. It was great.
It was the best.
It was the best. They said WTF, mate. It was great. The world ends. Putting back Lee in front of it, le in front of every word. No, that was stupid.
Litty girl.
How does Gio know the deepest e-girl lore, but not this? I was on Newgrounds too. Like I remember Newgrounds had that like urban sniper game where like you were like a kid, you were a black kid, and you were like in the hood.
Just wait till I drop my spinal catastrophism right manifesto on Substack. I'm gonna have one eventually out soon. So don't worry. People scoff at Skibidi Toilet, but they grew up with like such treasures as Left 4 Dead Gmod films. That's true.
Yeah, remember that
I did not grow up with a lot of like Gmod stuff. So when I see like channels like Richter Overtime have like 100,000 plus subs covering like obscure like Gmod horror stuff, and I'm like, this is interesting because I never grew up with it, so I was like, what the fuck is Nemesis Blue? And then I watched it, and I was like, oh wow, this is like a really amazing piece of work.
Remember that one Gmod creature where it was like the head of that old guy who's like, you need me? Remember that one?
No, I just said I didn't grow up with any of this stuff.
All right.
I can relate to a certain other podcast host right now. I get it. I can't believe I can relate to Richard Spencer on something.
Oh, who's his co-host now? Mark Brahman still or no?
Just the jokes where he would mention something and be like, "Oh yeah, this," and it's like, "This is what we're talking about." Just 5 minutes ago. Did you ever hear? Oh, the Zoomer reaction. Oh, because it's based off a real burnt body. It's based off a real burnt body. Everyone knows this.
Whoa.
Oh, I mean, okay,
that
cool.
one, yeah.
Everyone knows what it looks like. All right, so I'm gonna have to make a mental note.
I never got into that Team Fortress 2 stuff. I never got into that.
Well, I mean, I've played it. I played a lot of it because I didn't have a PC when I was growing up to play video games, so I had an Xbox 360, and I played the shit out of TF2 on the orange box. It's a good time.
They used to have like TF2 memes, like when they were trolling Ghost. I remember some of the accounts have like Team Fortress 2. There was like a Team Fortress 2 True Capitalist Radio connection there. Skibbity Catastrophism.
The shits. Absolutely.
That's such a great name. That should be like a finishing move, the Spinal Catastrophism. It would just be, it would be like a pile driver variant, but it would be like, it'd be like kind of like Jun Akiyama's pile driver where like hooks the leg, Anyways, never mind. Halloween remake starring Richard Hanania.
So true. All right, we're gonna go read this damn article now.
All right. Now we're stopped. We stopped the Halloween content. Now we're back into election. I hope we're gonna like devote multiple streams to the Canadian election next year.
I hope we do.
It's too boring. It's too boring.
I want to cover it. Let's do it. Why not? Fuck Justin Trudeau. We'll spend 3 episodes breaking down the intricate details of every provincial election.
We'll be like, we'll bring on future Moldovan citizen.
We'll bring on future Moldovan citizen, and just to piss everybody off, we'll even bring on local distance. How about that?
Yeah, but we'll like 2 hours just on the Saskatchewan by
absolutely.
That'd be great. We would get like 15 viewers for that one.
It'll be great.
Let's talk about the election.
All right, so Trump 3, this time it's personal, a hauntology of 80s pop culture manifest. This is from our good friend Morgoth Review, and Morgoth's review, and it came out just earlier today. I saw it this morning. I read it with my morning coffee at work, and I said we're going to cover it.
And please sneed those super chats, or else we're going to stop reading. We're not going to read any further unless I see one more super chat.
Speak for yourself. I'm going to keep reading.
All right. Damn it! I'm trying to grift for you.
I trust the good people of my audience to donate if the content is good.
That's like some real like Dark Side Phil. Like, come on, guys! Like this mortgage payment's coming up. Like
the mortgage payment's coming up. Come on, piggies! Rent is due, and it's just like if I ever get that way, chat, I will dox myself so you can shoot me. If I ever get that pay, piggy. I will auto dox my address like Orc Brand, but this time you actually get to kill me. Sorry. I am too high functioning as an adult to let that happen. If I get that low, you have every right to put me down like the dog that I've become.
Hashtag where's Mama JS? Oh man.
All right, so here we go. Having taken a few days away from the internet and social media, I returned to be greeted by rumors speculating that I had died in a pub. Did you see that? That someone posted on 4chan that like Morgoth's review died. And it's just like, I'm back. Thanks for that. But glad Morgie's alive.
No, but like about the PayPig thing, like one of my favorite moments was when PPP was still with Surfer, and they covered how like Boogie did that stream where he's like, someone's got to pay, guys. And then people's like, yep, someone's got to pay. Someone's got to pay for his laptic band surgery. Like, that's why like, Boogie was like grifting off the laptic band surgery for like a solid 5 years. Like, he didn't tell anyone he actually did it. So you continue to grift of like, I need to save up money for the gastric bypass. So,
The
anyways,
gastric bypass.
so Morgoth was dead in a pub. Like he got into a pub fight. He spent some time in the clink.
That's what they said. But anyways, he's alive. So we'll back to reading. About ban? What? Anyways, I'm not. if I do the I'm in so much pain thing, just in me. But anyways. I actually met up with an old friend for some hill walking and then going to the pub. I'm probably more healthy for it. Still, I was reminded of a great piece of dialogue from Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven between English Bob, Richard Harris, and Little Bill Daggett, Gene Hackman. Hello, Bill. Thought you were dead. Well, I heard you had fallen off your horse drunk, of course, and that you had broke your bloody neck. Well, I heard that one myself, Bob. Hell, even I thought I was dead till I found out it was just that I was in Nebraska. There could be very well an equivalent exchange in Chaucer, Shakespeare, or Homer, but the one I'm familiar with and can reference without any research is the one from Unforgiven. Returning from my break and still being very much alive, I tuned into Donald Trump's super extravaganza mega show at the Madison Square Garden to witness Hulk Hogan bounding around on stage to his theme tune, I'm a Real American, a great dollop of maple syrup-covered patriotic cheese and 80s soft rock guys. Never having been a fan of American wrestling, I associate Hulk Hogan with Rocky III. Then it dawned on me that Madison Square Garden is also the venue for Rocky's explosive bout with Clubba Lang, which forms the epic finale to the whole film. During the show, one of Trump's sons gave a speech recounting the lore so far. Donald Trump was a wealthy, popular, and famous man. He had the great and good of New York and the liberal American establishment on speed dial, and he could simply sit back and enjoy life. Alas, the corruption, injustice, and the nutball libtard agenda was just too much to stomach, so he entered the arena of politics, first to mockery, and then to the horror of the system. Then in Act 2, the Empire struck back and struck back hard. The swamp creature was more extensive and more powerful than anyone could have possibly imagined. You don't drain the swamp drains you. Swamp ball drainer groiper. Anyways, betrayal, treachery, and cheating saw Trump defeated and cast out into the wilderness of Truth Social, with most of the ardent MAGA faithful keeping him company in the digital and political wasteland. Joe Biden was installed as a grotesque mockery of presidential prestige, America's reputation around the world plummeted, and the cackling hag, Kamala, gleefully set about the ruination of Trump's legacy. Trump himself, like a grand orange Gulliver, was bound and tied down with lawsuit after lawsuit, one legal procedure after another for his alleged coup attempt, casting him in the role of the despised renegade and all-around mad bastard. War returned to geopolitics while America's cities became overwhelmed with immigrants and drug addicts tottering and about waiting to die from despair. The MAGA flame, dimmed as the lipstick of the four-starred transsexual generals, burned bright. It's always good to read Morgoth. Elsewhere in the gloomy zeitgeist, Elon Musk scored a win by poaching Twitter from under the noses of the regime. The revelations came thick and fast and confirmed what everyone knew. Conspiracy? It was a deep state plot to censor, rob, and dispose of Trump all along. One can only speculate on Trump's conversations in exile during these days of despair. Trump, I have to run again. They need me. Melania, just retire. You've given these people everything. Trump, not everything. Not yet. And thus, in Act 3, we have the return of Trump. People have become understandably irritated and exhausted by the incessant pop cultural references that are a hallmark of our hyper-real postmodern era. It is a sign that we've been programmed by Hollywood, television, or trashy low art forms. As I noted in another essay, quote, it occurred to me that I was in a hyper-real land like Skyrim or Lord of the Rings films. I remember a favorite scene in The Deer Hunter in which Robert De Niro stalks a stag across the mountains as an orthodox choir soundtrack added to the sheer majesty of the cinematography. Man, The Deer Hunter is a really good movie. Yeah. Why the hell was I thinking of films, an old video game in a place like this? Once more, authenticity wriggled through my fingers like a little eel as I became conscious of the million media images embedded in my mind that denoted awesome natural landscape. It reminds me of that tweet thread that Academic Agent went on where he was just like, oh, I've been here before in all my video games. And it's just like, man, this guy touched grass and thought Lord ran. Oh, man. The problem with the Donald Trump saga is that it seems to be consciously and deliberately crafted to not only follow a standard 3-act journey complete with a cliche, but directly invoke the feelings, characters, and format of the 80s and 90s films that form its core. It is not simply possible to watch Hulk Hogan at Madison Square Garden celebrating the triumphant comeback of Trump without remembering that you're pretty much watching Rocky III in politicized form. Ugh. But he's the only one that could. But he is the only person in American politics that could do that. Ted Cruz couldn't do this. Jeb Bush couldn't do this.
No.
Scott Walker couldn't do this. Only Trump.
Scott Walker. Oh my
Only Trump
God.
could pull this off.
Yeah.
Could you imagine any other Republican trying to do
Democrat
this?
for that matter.
Or a Democrat for that matter. The closest you get on the Democratic side is 2008 Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And even then.
Or 2012 Barack Obama.
No, it's more 2008 than it is. The 2012 is not
2012 Revenge of Obama. Obongo. Obama. Yeah.
Obama. It can be tiresome in the post-truth internet age to see comments splattered everywhere on how everything is theater or all following a plan. Still, in the case of Trump's grander arc, it genuinely does give one the impression of a storyline playing out. Of course, political realism is also being deployed. It remains a fact, as I noted recently, the madness of the Democrats has alienated erstwhile allies who now flock to Trump out of necessity, whether that be elements of the Zionist lobby or titans of digital technology fearful of impending tax policies, or in Elon's case, arrest. However, I would argue that what the Trump mythos actually embodies is a form of hauntology in which decades-old cultural forms, long thought dead, exist as afterthoughts within the cultural psyche waiting to be plucked from the ether and electroshocked back into life. Everybody deep down in 2020 felt that the Trump storyline felt unresolved and that a satisfying conclusion was needed, whether it was tragedy or triumphantly holding up the heavyweight belt. It needed to end correctly. Yet this is real-world politics, not a movie. Perhaps we've all become lost in a miasma of tropes and symbols of pop culture to such a degree that the earnestness and authenticity have to be expressed through its language. In Madison Square Garden, Trump described the most vicious and hideous crimes perpetrated by an immigrant gangs on the American people. I believe him when he tells us it will end when he becomes president again. I think he is genuinely appalled by it. Yet the meta is Trump as the avenging angel, Trump as the sheriff returning to town, Trump as Dirty Harry, Trump as the consummate showman and entertainer. It isn't so much that we, as the viewing public, are saturated with the imagery of media and Hollywood, but that politicians are too, perhaps even more than us. Well, as the old saying goes, politics is Hollywood for ugly people. Kamala Harris is actually has more celebrity endorsements than Trump does, but her endorsement represents the facile nothingness and misery of the here and now. Yas Queen managerialism with a side of Leo's yacht chic, swanning about with the gays and HR feminists is no match for Rocky punching meat in the abattoir and running through the trash-strewn streets of Philadelphia before hurtling up the steps to the city's Museum of Art. MAGA at Madison Square Garden seemed like an unstoppable juggernaut, yet I was also aware that this would be the last time the play of deploying Rocky III as an ideological framing device would be possible before the inferior sequels began. The nostalgic afterglow will cool, and the references fade again into hauntology's limbo.
Whoa.
It's a great essay. Morgoth sure can turn a phrase, ain't that the truth? He's one of my favorite writers in this entire space. But it does. But it. Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I can't believe he used Rocky instead of Hulk Hogan. What a waste. Well, it's the reference that he says that he knows. But I think what's important to point out here is that, as I mentioned earlier, no other politician could try this. No other politician could try and be an 80s star.
Yeah.
Because Trump is and has been the sign of wealth and American decadence and American capitalistic greed and excellence and all the things that he was everywhere. He is
every commercial for things from pizzas to computers to software, everything.
You were a cultural reference to wealth and New York businessmen, power suits, and everything, from McDonald's commercials to being referenced on Will and Grace to being just about everywhere.
To being in every media franchise, from Home Alone to pro wrestling itself to like countless movies, rap songs, everywhere. Yeah.
So for so many,
Mac Miller song about him before he became a
I'm pretty sure. And again, what do you have is that, and it's funny, even before this essay was written, about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I don't know how long it's been, it was one of the first live streams that Dave the Distributist and Carl Benjamin had on Dave's channel, where even Carl was just like, the Trump story's not finished, and it feels improper.
It's only finished when Trump says Gamergate 2. That's what he said.
It's on. Well, what?
Just Sargon said.
That'd be really funny. No, but what he had said is that it doesn't feel over.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel over, and that it feels right for him to have a comeback in the next election. And now we all have this. I think because we're online and we're content creators and we're essayists and we're video people, we're live streamers or whatever, we want to have that story, because I think this space in particular has such this deep fascination with meta narratives, and I'm myself included. I love looking for the narrative. I love looking for these through lines, these ideas in which we can trace through all these jagged courses of history and events that say, this is where we're at. This is my story, my narrative. I belong here. And still, he has to overcome it. And for a lot of people, this is where you get sort of maybe Nick Land talking about, solemn providence and that an act of God. And perhaps there's the case. I can't count that out. God picks the strangest people to work through sometimes when it comes to leaders, even if we don't like them. But to me, at least, what I get out of all of this is just that no other person, no other outsider who is the embodiment of celebrity itself. And that's what Donald Trump is, the embodiment of American celebrity, American wealth, American decadence. This 80s nostalgia, this 90s nostalgia, really, when you get out of it from Republicans, it's like, well, who remembers the Reagan Revolution? And it's fallen. No one cares, because so many people now.
Boomers.
Well, exactly, and that's who you would always appeal to in these primary elections. But Trump, instead. But the thing is that this is what makes him. This is what allows this 80s stuff to pull off. He was part of the 80s. He's part of the 90s, part of the 2000s, part of today. He's an older man now. But what is it about him? There's all the things that you can say, Zionist shill or whatever. It's the point.
Yeah, that Giuliani speech at Madison Square Garden, that sealed it, eh?
Ooh.
Ronald Reagan personally told me to never abandon Israel because Israel never abandoned us.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So good.
But you've got him there, the symbol of American celebrity and decadence. And you want to. Some people say, "Oh, it's like something's happening that's beyond our control," and it feels that way. It's really crafted that way. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're all waiting. We're all simultaneously aware that war is still happening. Large chunks of Wyoming have been burned or are burning. There's still people recovering from Hurricane Helen that will never see $1 of federal aid as long as Biden or Kamala are in the White House, and that ballot boxes are being burned in parts of Washington State, in Oregon, excuse me. And one of the most is it Oregon or Washington? Where I don't recall.
It was in Seattle.
Oh, okay. So outside of one of the most competitive districts in the entire state. Congratulations, guys. Political realism sets in. There's this great TV spectacle, but eventually, in 8 days, the TV will turn off, and the movie will end, and the results will be decided. And
either
then what?
Either outcome.
Either way,
be an end to Trump.
Either way, the TV turns off, the phone screen comes off, and we're left to look at our own reflection once more.
Yeah.
And what have we gotten out of the narrative? Did we enjoy ourselves? Did you enjoy it? Did you fill up your popcorn? Are you ready for the next episode to tune in? But perhaps that episode won't come in, and the series gets canceled in the way that you want it to be. And there is no,
with
Trump
a
3.
shitty finale.
We don't know. And I don't say this to Black Pill, but I find it particularly interesting that I think it's important sometimes to step outside of my own ecosystem and just take a breather, because everyone, it's your undying loyalty to the president. You have 17 minutes, and it's okay, yes, I do have 17 minutes.
You're going in the crystal for 5,000 years, 5 million years. You're going in the crystals.
But then you have to wake up and realize there are no crystals. There are no X, Y, and Z. There is no Prester John that we know of. And so I think it's important to sometimes get a little splash of water to the face and wake up.
Trump really is kind of like a secularized version of an Occident Prester John, when you really think about it.
Yeah. So what is the crystal? So there's some photo of Trump with crystals or whatever, and then the meme sort of took off, where it's we're gonna put all the libtards in crystals, kind of referencing like the soul gems from Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls
there's also a Star
series.
Trek episode, the original series, where they turn people into crystals, these aliens.
There you go.
Yeah, but also it comes originally from the viral tweet of an edited Boogie when he's like freaking out on LolCal Live, where he's like, "I'm in so much pain, I'm in so much pain, I hate my life, I hate my life," and he's like freaking out. And I believe the tweet was, the elf that I just trapped in a Tesseract crystal for 500,000 years, and it's like they put a vocoder on Boogie's like, "Oh, I'm in so much pain, I'm in so much pain." Like it was so good. Yeah, your soul is trapped in a crystal forever.
So is that why people are tweeting? Yes.
Yeah,
I did that. I even I tweeted out Azura's star at one point.
Doesn't not Mario, but doesn't like Sonic have crystals?
I don't know.
Or Sonichu has like the Chaos medallions or whatever. The Chaos gems.
Why not? Why
Chaos
not?
gems. Does that come from like Sonic or it comes from Pikachu? No, Pikachu, they got the balls, but like the Chaos gems, you know,
the Chaos Emeralds, sir.
Chaos Emeralds. They come from Sonichu.
Sonichu uses crystals.
Yeah, Sonichu uses crystals. Castles.
You can tell that Gio is not a video game person at all.
No, it is from Sonic. Crystal Catastrophism Groiper.
Yes, the Chaos Emeralds are from Sonic. They give energy to all living things.
Yeah.
Patrick Casey has crystals, big influence on Sonic. Well, don't tell schizophrenics online. Don't let him know. Otherwise, things could end very badly for Patrick Casey. Sonichu 2028. Yeah. Do you so solemnly swear? That'd be horrifying, actually, now that you think about that out loud. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh. Again, only Trump can pull off the 80s thing, you know? Only him. No other candidate could, left or right.
No, but what
it would be like Bruce Springsteen trying to run for president as a Democrat in like 2008.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. Did you see that like one photo of Bruce Springsteen with his tits out? Like that was terrifying.
Nipples protruding, disgusting.
Looks disgusting. Yeah. Yeah. No, but I think because Trump like was a huge cultural icon that did represent like the pure like embodiment of decadence and capitalism in America, that embodied like sort of like gold-plated high, like almost like a weird form of like Romanist or Hellenic revival in the 80s, where you have like macho capitalist high 80s kitsch that was like, you know, the basis of like synthwave and vaporwave and like basically like unabashed consumerism, but consumerism that could have a potential to be high art or high decadence, not just like your typical slop, but now like slop can have this like particular form of like, you know, colored glass, golden arch, you know, golden columns type 80s Americana aesthetic.
Oh yeah.
You know, and in Trump Tower, like if you watch, I remember that one interview he did with Bob Vila like back in the 80s. I remember watching this like Roku channel that had like Bob Vila playing on loop, This Old House. And so he interviewed his wife at the time, what was her name? Ivana Trump, who was like designing the Trump Tower in New York. And they were like designing the rooms. And then Trump was being interviewed. He's like, I love building things. I love seeing physical things. And it's like, it does really embody like that. That is like the essence of a particular iteration of Americana. But what's very interesting about this essay by Morgoth is that near the end, he comes sort of like dangerously close to like what an irony leftist or what like a bread tuber would say about the E-right, which is that you're basically a victim of pop culture slop because Donald Trump is like a pop culture slop of another generation. And that you people are like, now all of a sudden you support McDonald's and you support Trump and you support, Trump doing Pizza Hut ads or whatever. But the thing is, like, or you support like a media narrative, a mediaized narrative. Like Trump is like Rocky, Hulk Hogan when he body slammed Andre the Giant. You know what I mean? Like you support this like mediaized narrative that Trump is a creature of, or at least was before Hollywood and the culture industry as a whole decided to spit him out violently because they're all a bunch of libtards. So, but at the same time, people like that fucking idiot Kim Possible, like no, it's just Kim Possible Facts. The other one, Airbagged. What's his stupid name?
I have no idea.
The one that like, was it Carlos or was it Howling Mutant that broke the guy's brain?
Probably Howling Mutant.
Oh, Airbagged. What's his name?
I don't know.
Something like one of these irony leftists, right? One of these irony leftists. It'll come to me. Like they would make this argument that you people, that you're creatures of pop culture, that actually the E-right loves slop because Trump is like giving you this license. Kate Bush's husband.
There you go.
People like Garbage Ape and all that, and other like YouTube video essayists, right? They would say this. But the thing is, though, is that these people also, they're a product of the culture industry as well. But they're a product of like media literacy, my favorite video game, my favorite franchise, my favorite slop, Marvel series. They reaffirm my worldview directly. Whereas the E-right, they also have this need, like we also have this need for certain iterations of pop culture to reaffirm our worldview, but at the same time, it's embodied in the charisma of one single man, who is a vision of like kitsch macho Americana. And so it's different because it's not like you have like a Marvel comic book series that is like, telling you to vote for Trump or whatever. It's like, it's basically like people that are addicted to like terminally aging Gen Xers and millennials and Zoomers that are addicted to media, warring with other people who are also like other aging millennials who are also addicted to slop media. It's like, it's this, we're all mediaized subject. We're all like warring out in the trenches against another form or another iteration of the culture industry that we have to bend and contort to our political ideas. That's basically what we are. And the E-right is doing it with Trump, and irony leftists like Kim Possible Facts or like fucking Thought Slime. They're like obsessed with like trashy media from the 80s, like kids media that nobody cares about anymore. Because like, oh,
yeah, there's
so
there's like a whole channel which I'm pretty sure they're leftists. I think it's called That Aged Well.
Yeah.
And it's just like going through like late 90s, early aughts movies of stuff like that, and it's like, oh well, that aged well, da 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 da. And I mean, some of it has kind of like a Cumtown feel to it. But it's like, like who gives a shit about like the racism of like Krippendorf's tribe? Like that movie is almost 30 years old. Like I think we can let it go. That's sort of the thing is that that's sort of the way in which they're going to argue it. And I mean, both sides now, almost in this, it's very strange because one, I think feels out of political necessity. And then the other one is just because that's been the default form of control for decades. So, and both sides are going to fling shit at each other and say, well, you're a part of the narrative. You're part of this. You're part of that. And you're controlled by the media. You're a slave. You're a slave. You're a media slave.
No, you slop.
It's like you have your McDonald's and it's like, well, you've got your homemade HRT. And like, it's just...
the really strange one that you order that is an anime girl on the cover.
Yeah, it's
that
like
Keffels was giving out. Yeah,
it's just like, well, you're just like a little red pilled fag, and it's just like, listen, you're a pink pilled cock. Like that's how it's been debased, and it's been debased, and it's awful, cattle. And it's just normie and just disgusting.
No, but the thing is, like, one is like an appropriation of pop culture.
Bent
to the will of reactionary ideas. The other is like just a pure media literacy, my heckin' values are confirmed by this franchise. So it's like, who's more pathetic, right?
What's
like,
that? You're telling me that, like, you know, the black guy who is the successor to, you know, the Captain America tells my politicians to do better. It's like, oh man, what a modern moment. And but at the same time, I think one of the things that separates these two sides of maybe the war of slop and media literacy or whatever is that, and I think Marbley does have a point, is that right-wingers do have an unironic admiration for some of the slop, but also it's kind of a kitsch accelerationism. And we'll start with
it's kitsch accelerationism, yeah.
But let's start with the unironic admiration, because there's a little bit of that. Absolutely. Like, McDonald's is slop, but by God, like, it's like the meme of where they've like re-photoshopped the Iwo Jima soldiers and they've got the Mickey D's flag. Or where people will unironically lament and say, well, like, listen, look at how we used to dress with this class of professionalism, even for a McDonald's manager in the mid-90s. You know, the white shirt, the tie, the apron, the cap. There was a sense of professionalism in that was lost. And so there's sort of that nostalgia factor baked into this appreciation.
Wendy's had the sunroom.
But I mean, even Trump with the whole Mickey D's thing, looking like an honest-to-God Norman Rockwell painting.
Yeah.
And he did. Because what is and as others have pointed out, I think Owen Cyclops said it, that the shirt, the tie, and the apron is a very classic American archetype of a storekeeper, of a shop front. And it's there. And so, yeah, like, there's some very coded things in here. And it goes back to dealing with all sorts of stuff about slop or media or the garishness or the kitschiness of things, is that Trump and the people that are behind him, you know, there's been this embrace of boorish garishness. Or some guy who had quote tweeted that tracing wood grains queer. And he had said,
God.
Oh boy, I don't know why I'm going to take the opinions of an ex-Mormon furry seriously. I'm just going to like, nope, I'm not interested. Not interested.
What did you say, Tracing? What did Tracing Norwood say?
He had said that every time I see something intelligent come out of the mouth of Vivek Ramaswamy or J.D. Vance, I think, wow, maybe there's something in the MAGA movement for me. But then I reminded that it is full of, you know, basically conspiracy theorists and just white trash is what he said.
Can you cap that tweet for me? I'm gonna dunk on this guy.
I
dunked on him before, but
I'll do it when I'm not on the air.
I kind of promised Kat not to dunk on him anymore because Kat's friends with him. So
no, well,
I don't know. I feel bad for dunking.
That's your burden to bear, not mine.
Okay. Tracing Norwood's is like
I'm not in her good graces, so I can dunk on him.
I thought, yeah, you are.
No.
Well, what happened with you and Kat?
But so to get back to the point,
anyways, you gotta tell me.
Yeah, I got fucking derailed, Gio. Let me finish my point.
No, but my point. Okay, you go ahead. Sorry.
And my point being is like Trump still maintains an aura of just like boorish aristocrat that bears well with sort of just what people would call the white trash or the dregs of flyover America that will staunchly vote for him no matter what, and where they'll hold on like, you know, flags of, you know, defiantly occupied territories where they'll still fly their former colors despite the fact that there's a different administration. And I see that all the time where I live. And it is, and again, and Oren and I say it all the time, that Trump does not deserve the loyal following that he has. This is what we've gotten, whether we deserve it or not. And it all, you know, it's like, oh, well, the whole kind of like Voltaire, oh, you know, I disagree with you, but I'll defend your right to the death in order to, you know, for you to have that right to say it. That's gone. That's been gone for decades. And so what is it? Someone finally said, fuck you. And that certainly got people's attention. And that's what they want. And so, yeah, you know, all that it is that it's a preference. And I get it. Classism is a real thing. And of course, you know, if you want to be anti-white, that's you're an enemy in my view. And I come from flyover America. Sorry, like, it's an attack on me. As cosmopolitan as I am. And I get it. Cosmopolitanism is going to run into the ruralism in the local areas of, you know, the sticks or whatever. And they're all going to have to clash. And you see that in the rallies where the well-to-do and the wealthy are going to stand side by side with someone who's got 6 project cars in his yard and is definitely behind on his credit card payments. But that's how America's coalitions are right now. Will a political formula that emerges to where the wealthy can do what they can while still embracing these things? Yeah, I think you kind of see that with some of the tech people on there. I think you see it with Stephen Miller, a Jewish conservative anti-immigration guy who says America's for Americans and gets like all of these white guys to cheer him on. Like he's got good stage presence. And it's different in comparison to, oh, well, the establishment's always been with me. How dare you tell me that I'm worth offing myself or whatever, you know? Like, I'm so glad that I have objectively correct opinions because the state tells me so. And then they're just psychologically ruined forever because they saw some Troon Jack edit of them. You know, like there's the difference there. The garishness that's come out of here, I think, is accelerated where there's an unironic love for what we used to be, and we're going to defend it. And we're going to enjoy our McDonald's ice cream machines that Trump said he's going to make working again. And it's like cooler with the anti-black remarks, Mr. President. But at the same time, right, like we're going to go back to that sensation that we had in the 80s. You know, we're not going to go back to the 90s. We're going to go back to the 80s. We're going to go back to this era of good feelings where it's morning in America again. And that's sort of what you get out of that unironic love for the slop. And that's already what you get because the right has this interesting problem where we kind of embody the great man, you know, whether it's Trump, whether it's Reagan, whether it's the evangelical vote and Jesus, whether it's, you know, any aspect of like one singular great man, a great leader, the Reagan Revolution, the Bush Brigades or whatever, the Ron Paul Revolution. That's one man. It's one man. And if it falters, it falls. You know, in the same way, like, oh, Pat Buchanan, well, he got unfortunately screwed over by Roger Stone and Trump, but like he fell. And so, but he still carried on. And now he's kind of getting his legacy appreciated now that he's soon to in his golden years. But, you know, whereas the left, it has all this sort of both decentralized but centralized power because it's got a great unifying narrative of fuck you and fuck your trailer. And, you know, we're going to destroy it and replace it with a bunch of Haitians. And so, you know, if the man falls, which is why they've tried to, you know, kill him several times now, it's different compared to, well, if someone gets Me Too'd like Richard Dawkins or whatever, there can always be a new, hip, popular atheist that can save the day and swing the vote around. And I think that's an interesting dichotomy between these slop wars, because there is slop and kitsch on both sides. It's just the way that they're embodied is in two different people.
No, but like that, but then like that's kind of, I don't know, like is there a way out of that? That's too much to ask.
There'll have to be. You have 4 years. I mean, like, you have 4 years to figure it out.
I forget who said it. It may have been.
I thought Barack Obama's essay about what comes after Trump is probably the thing that we're gonna have to deal with. Is what comes next.
I think it was Barack Obama in that essay or was it, I think it was either like Uliths or it may have been Smead or no, it may have been Mika Groiper that had this thread about like the E-Right in like 2017 was way different. Like that's why you had a lot of like fantasies of escape, like the Ruralite thing. Remember like when Crush the Urbanite was like the biggest thing? Or it may have been Barack Obama. Pretty sure it was Barack Obama, yeah. Yeah, like that, like the Crush the Urbanite was the thing. I'm gonna hide in my heckin' wholesome woods with my big titty goth wife who's gonna breed me sons to fight the anti-libtard revolution. Like that shit's like gone the wayside now. I think because Trump has in a weird way like given people or at least given people like the aesthetics of political agency. Whereas like, you know, the whole like revenge fantasy that like people like reading Evola and Ted Kaczynski, as much as I read Evola and Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah, same.
That's sort of like not adequate for like the real problems. That's like a form of like weirdo, esoteric right-wing escapism, which I mean, it's a very harsh criticism.
Narnia nationalism, as some might call it.
Narnia, yeah. Or like back in the Thermometer magazine days, we called it doomsday optimism. But no, what I was gonna say about tracing Norwood Grains is I don't know, like I have like some sympathy for him because obviously like they're like the guy clearly has like trauma. Like you don't go from being a Mormon to a furry for no reason. But he's got that like weird contrarian Silicon Valley rationalist, like God, like how should I put it? That like contrarian complex. That's sort of like Richard Hanania type of smuggy nonsense, yeah.
The smuggy.
Yeah.
The smuggy rationalist that I'm better and more cosmopolitan, smarter and wealthier than you. It's just a sense of superiority that's baked into disagreeing with you.
Exactly. But what happened to the guy that found his thermometer? You don't want to know. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, okay? Don't worry about it.
Do not research.
Do not research, yeah. Miguel Serrano is a weird right-wing escapism, not Evola. Well, I mean, Evola and Ride the Tiger, I wouldn't call it escapism. I'm just using Evola as a heuristic shorthand. But yeah, you could say Miguel Serrano definitely is... well, I mean, he definitely doesn't address politics as overtly as Evola does. But Miguel, I mean, I shouldn't say that. Miguel Serrano was a fan of the Austrian painter, but like, whereas Evola, I think like by Ride the Tiger, he was sort of like set upon the idea that like things aren't going to really work out for us unless we like have this inner crusade, and so yeah, like it's definitely a complex question whether Evola is like a weird form of like esoteric right-wing escapism. I mean, a lot of people on the right nowadays, they think that Evola is that. But it is what it is. What happened with you and Catherine? Are you there, Prude? I think Prude had to go to the washroom or something.
I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
But yes, I did have to go to the bathroom real quick.
Esoteric Evola and Theosophy. I don't know. That joke is kind of overplayed. Like, there's a lot of things you can criticize.
There are a million other things that you can criticize.
Logo Daedalus for.
Logo Daedalus. His cynophilic tendencies for state socialism is one of them. And it will go back to the 80s, and it won't roll back the aggressive leftist advance, but it will pump the brakes. I see Trump as buying me 4 more years to prepare and organize for whatever comes after him.
To be fair, there were leftoids in the 80s. Like there was, women's lib, and there was like the trans movement was getting on the ground, and there was like the whole gay thing with the AIDS crisis, and there was like I remember there was this one. It was like one of these like weirdo, like anti-natalist, like cosmic pessimist vibe subreddits, like that were like leftoids. There was this one leftoid that was like, I forget the name. It was like some anon that was like blackpilling that like apparently in the late 20th century, there was a number of like genetic shredders for leftist activists. Like the AIDS crisis was like a huge genetic shredder for like the political left, and like that's how you get like the Reagan Revolution, because like all these gay guys just like dropped. And then in the 90s you also had like leftists like just refusing to have kids is also like another. But then again, it's like, what do you want though? It's like it's kind of like baked into your ideology. Like anti-natalism is like, I forget the exact when, but like there was a number of key events like this person was theorizing that led to the rise of like the Chud right with Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean,
goodness, was it Christopher Caldwell? Because he wrote an essay not too long ago about the 90s, and that it sort of would give rise to this because all the post 90s, early aughts mythologies died. Because what was the mythos? That AIDS killed the promiscuous gays, so the ones that tried to act straight were the ones that survived. How true that is
it was like huge. The AIDS crisis was a eugenic movement.
Basically saying like the AIDS crisis gave rise to a softer, more socially acceptable gay. Well, of course, and it's backed up by shows like Will and Grace and by fucking movies like Philadelphia and the rest of it. And so all of a sudden you have this point where it's just like, well, we can sell a story. Actually, they're just like you. They just like, the worst things imaginable.
That came up in Totally Effed Up, remember, in the Teen Apocalypse trilogy? How they're like the one guy, the black gay guy, was saying like there's a new form of gay, like soft gay, whereas like the like macho 80s bathhouse gay, like that sort of like went by the wayside. Remember that line? Like, and like a lot of gay media in the 90s and 2000s actually does reaffirm that picture.
Well, in the same way that like black media today, this is where tapping the FBA head himself, but it does illustrate that like in media or anything like that, there's not a role model or positive masculinity for anybody, let alone and like in video games, it's like, well, if there's like a black guy, he's like the twinkish nerd. And it's not. It's like, you're going through the same thing that the white man went through. Welcome to the club. We've got jackets.
Donald Glover, black guy.
Yeah, you're just a Donald Glover guy. Although
Really
he's trying, he's
boy.
been trying his hardest to not look that way, but it doesn't help him.
They're like the whitest black guy, like the hipster.
This guy identifies with Goku, you know, like.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like, if you do look at certain things as genetic pressures, like, obviously, in the reverse, though, the opioid crisis is sort of like that for the political right in America. So, you know, take your pick. Like, there are people, there are waves of genetic events that precede political events or political trends.
Yeah.
Like, look at human populations as suffering. Like, okay, if there's a bunch of things killing like heartland people, but there's also a bunch of things killing gay people, you're obviously going to have like political trends that are going to like be shockingly similar to like what happens before then with the genetic picture of a society. Not to say that like the AIDS crisis was like there were bodies on the streets of San Francisco. They're kind of okay. There was like homeless people that die or whatever, but like it wasn't like there were like the death carts. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that big of a. How many gay guys died of the AIDS crisis in America? Do they like 1 million or no? 80s AIDS crisis death toll.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
27,000 people. That's it. 27,408 people died from AIDS.
I was really expecting that number to be higher.
I was expecting like almost 1 million people because the way the media, like, holy crap.
Be very careful with that line of reasoning, Gio.
No, but what I mean is like the way that like the AIDS crisis is depicted in the media, you would figure like there are like literally bodies on the streets of San Francisco. Like it was everywhere.
I'm sure that there were at some point.
No, but you know what I mean. Like there was like death carts. It was like Black Plague.
Yeah. I was really expecting 1 million.
I was expecting 1 million. Yeah.
You know, for all the effort and a quilt, you know,
oh man,
that number cannot be accurate. But yeah, someone's gonna clip that out of context.
Don't. Yeah, that's.
Like I said,
AIDS,
that's
AIDS 2. When? No. People thought monkeypox was gonna be AIDS 2, but then
no, it just turned out that the only people who were getting it were gays and whoever they molested.
No, but I think like popular like libtard media does really obscure. Like I even had this like years ago. I said this to my parents. They couldn't believe me. We were like watching some show and it was the usual like every second commercial has like either black people or Asians or whatever. And I go to my old man, I go, how many, like what do you think the demographics of black people in America are? And he goes, I don't know, like 40%. I go, what?
Yeah.
I go, no, it's 13% of the population. That's hovered around 13% since the 1970s. He goes, what? Are you kidding me? Because I thought like literally it was 40% of the American population based on the media, based on like, you know, like, and a lot of people, even in America, think it's 40% of the population. So it's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, even Pew Research was like Americans overestimate how many gays there are. They think it's like 25% of the country. And it's like, no.
It's 2%.
It's much less than that, yeah.
Yeah. If you like, I think it's like 3 or 4 or 5% if you combine all of the alternative sexualities or genders together.
And all other fairy tale creatures.
Yeah, it's like 5%.
Yeah, at best.
I mean, okay, you could say that the Gen Z one, it mostly comes from women that are like claiming they're bisexual or whatever. And so it's kind of like obscure. Like there's those statistics, like there's those like black pill statistics that like 36% of Gen Z identifies with either like some variety of LGBT. I personally don't believe that's true. I believe that's just like chasing a trend. Does. There are like some weirdo leftoids that believe
instead of bug chasing, it's buck chasing.
You know who believes that statistic?
Who?
Indians online that hate white people, like
of course. I mean,
like,
this is Carlos's biggest point on Twitter. He's just like, do you people not realize what porn has psychologically conditioned the third world masses?
Yeah.
They think that your women are like ready to be like taken and screwed, and it's just like, oh boy,
there's just
he's
like
right.
Black,
he's right.
buff
Like
guys everywhere, like black, yeah. Like that was like I remember that one reply to Martin. It was like an Indian account where it literally just says, now it's like, you're a fool. Now give me your sister's OnlyFans. I'm like, what? Holy crap. That was like so good. The Indian bingo card online, like the terminally online Indians, they're just like, it's so like, it's crazy. It was so funny though. It was so funny. Like that guy's like, "Now give me your sister's OnlyFans." Like, it was. Oh man. Anyways,
and it's funny. Our show is more or less just as long as the Trump-Rogan interview, and gotta say that was pretty entertaining.
It was a pretty good interview.
It was good.
It was
everything
like
from forestry to geopolitics to regulatory burdens. It was good.
Rockets. Space travel. It's funny. Joe didn't ask him about psychedelic legalization. I wonder why he didn't do that.
The only thing that kind of got mentioned was UFOs.
Yeah.
And even then it wasn't all that entertaining.
Well, although he didn't believe in it till he saw the records.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
I was actually shocked that Joe Rogan didn't bring up psychedelics. So, like, would you legalize weed in America? And guaranteed Trump will probably say, I don't care about it.
Trump already made his position known because he voted, I think, yes on that Prop 4 or whatever in Florida that was for, like, legalizing pot.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I think his position's known, although he's the most sober man in politics just because he doesn't drink or do drugs or smoke.
He's a teetotaler.
He's a teetotaler in that sense, and also inspired by his brother. But it's sorry, I'm looking at chat. Chat, you naughty third chair. But
that really was like a humanizing moment by Theo Vaughn. He goes, well, my brother, he told me don't do it. I saw it ruin his life. And like that was like, I mean, if all the humanizing, like even the Joe Rogan interview was like a humanizing moment because he was calmer. He was like just talking to someone, and it was, it wasn't like a hostile interview. I would have like, out of some like sick impulse for entertainment, I kind of wish the Kamala Joe Rogan interview would have happened. That would have kind of been entertaining. I don't know. It would have been boring though. It kind of would have been boring.
It would have been entertaining to say the least, but it's over. You know
what I think though?
The die is cast. We wait with bated breath.
Yeah. No, but what I think? I think it actually would have been good for Kamala because they would have just talked about nonsense. But in talking about nonsense like salad recipes or whatever, it would have humanized Kamala Harris. And Joe Rogan like wouldn't have grilled her. So yeah. It would be good. I think she would have talked about growing up as an Indian Black person. She would have talked about like different recipes. She would have like really talk about like UFOs and drugs. And it would have been great. It would have been like, she's like, Joe, I think maybe I do believe in them. And like, if I was president, maybe I would release the records on Area 51 or whatever. Like it would be better for Kamala Harris. Like, I don't know. It would have been good. It would have been good for her, I feel. She would have ran out of things to talk about. Maybe.
I really do think it's what's humorous about it is just that, she had this in this one interview is sort of this like candid moment where she says, I really wish I could run a restaurant. And it's just like, really, that's what you should be doing is trying to make your little like Italian fusion place work somewhere outside of Sacramento. That's all. That's
Italian
really
Indian fusion outside of Sacramento. Yeah,
that's really what you should be to do it, and that's really what should be the case. But alas, I don't think that In a perfect world, that's where she should be. Actually, she shouldn't even be in the United States because she would be somewhere in India because she shouldn't even be in Canada to begin with either.
She would be in Kerala. She would be neighbors with Chad Haig.
In a perfect world, Kamala Harris and Usha Vance would be neighbors somewhere, and they wouldn't be the United States to begin with. But here we are, folks. Here we are. Yeah, I mean, that was probably the best part of it.
She'd be an assistant manager at Applebee's.
That's so true.
Good. That's so good, Darcy. She should be an assistant manager at Applebee's. She does look like the type.
Fusion. Come on, yes, Robert. I know.
She looks like a manager at like a Sonic or an Applebee's.
She looks like she would be like the manager that goes to talk to like the rowdy, like elderly white customers at like a Cheddar's. Is what she looks like.
Yeah.
You know, like, honey, like you ate your food, you ain't getting a refund. That steak ain't raw. I'll sit that, you know.
That steak ain't raw. You ain't getting no refund.
It's as floppy as my husband. That steak is raw as shit. You know, like she just throws it like a frisbee.
We can give you a coupon, man. You know, like that's probably the best you're gonna do.
You know, and that's honest to God, that's where she should have been in life. But here we are.
That's
just to suffer. Just to
manager at GH, yeah. Oh man, she'd be pretty good for that. I mean, I don't know. Like, I can't hate Kamala Harris though. I don't hate her as much as Kim Waltz. I can't.
I can hate them both.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, Kamala Harris is obviously like she obviously does not want the job. She's being thrusted into this role, and even though, like, I mean, I don't know. She's just a mouthpiece. I don't like really. She's not as evil as Obama, put it that way. Like, she's not.
Sure.
There's no brain there to be evil. You know, it's just. But you know what? I say this now, but years ago I kind of did say that about Trudeau, where I'm like, he's not like really contemptible because he's just a mouthpiece. But now I like full on hate Trudeau. He has to go. So maybe if Kamala does become president, you're gonna have
see,
like...
Tim Walz is great because we're gonna have the same problem that Canada has, where it's like, oh yeah, there's just open Chinese infiltration, and it's an open secret. Because it's like, you know, Kamala Harris's VP choice had a secret flame with the daughter of a top Chinese communist official during his like teaching stint in China. And of course, everyone's joking because it's just like, and even I riffed on it. You know, someone on the Hill said, I think the most surprising thing in the Waltz China thing was them sleeping with the enemy. And I said, I disagree. I thought it was the heterosexuality. Like, you know, like you can do the jokes. They're fun. They're great. But it's just like, we know this is happening. They have bought all this farmland conveniently next to American air bases and stuff like that. It's just like, it's welcome to the shit, you know, like what
I said that what else to say. When I was driving, I said like that one line where he's like, oh, I've been a bonehead before during the debate with Vance. Yeah. Like being a Chinese asset, that's like being a bonehead. Like that's, you know, I was a real bonehead once, you know, like being a asset of the CCP.
I'm such a knucklehead, and it's just like, dude,
yeah,
Canadian healthcare.
Well, Minnesota's like spiritually Canada, so
they're getting there. They're getting there.
They just need more Indians.
They're gonna get eaten by Haitians first.
Cat eaten by Haitians, great. No, but I think like Kamala, she doesn't have that same degree of like cunningness that Obama at least pretended to have, and I think like. If she isn't like I said this,
because he's a white minstrel show, like he can't be cunning.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, no, I said this. We recorded the War Report, which I mean will probably come out tomorrow. I said this about Kamala, like if she does get elected, you're not going to see her for 4 years. You'll see her at the mandatory things like State of the Union.
Yeah,
but like they're gonna like lock her away. Kind of like an insane inbred child in like a royal family where they lock them in the attic like a flower in the attic, you know. Don't research that movie, by the way, Flower in the Attic. Just don't worry about it. You know that movie, Prude? Flowers in the Attic?
No, I haven't.
It's about incest and child abuse. Yeah, it's about incest. Anyways.
Okay, well.
Flowers in the Attic. I can't believe where this stream is going. Sometimes, like, I'll think back to what I say on this show, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I forgot about half the shit I said on BTR. I wonder what I said back then.
Oh, there are times where someone, like, in my chat will, like, quote something back to me, and they're like, "You sounded really like off optics here." And I was like, "What do you mean? I didn't sound that bad." And then I re-listened to myself, and I'm like, "Oh boy, oh boy."
Oh man.
Oh no. You know, it's so yeah.
I
Thank
should
God
say
for
that.
short-term memory.
Yeah. No, Kimball Yuga. That'll be if Kamala wins next week.
Don't look this up, but here's exactly what keywords to use when looking for. It's so
Gio, how
true.
did you swing a GF? I shouldn't say that Flowers in the Attic was actually a touching book in a movie because, like, it was about like a brother and sister taking care of younger siblings, suffering horrific child abuse, living in an attic, and they sort of like the incest is a way of like coping with their own lack of feeling in you know.
If you were wondering how to watch all of the Night Owls recordings, I have set them all to not safe for work. You have to be logged in to view them. Pandora.
Oh, is that Rickshaw?
Pandora,
are you Rickshaw futurist?
If you are, that explains a lot.
Yeah. Kimbala Yuga. That'll be the title.
That's a good one. That'll be if she wins, that'll be the one.
Yeah, Kimbala Yuga.
Oh yes. Hello. Welcome, Rickshaw Futurist.
Yeah.
I love the Night Owls black market. So true.
Just remind me that will be the title of the stream if Kamala wins next week.
Oh, here I'll just literally write it down so I can send it to you.
Sounds great, Gio. Can't wait to have nightmares about that one. No, they made Flowers in the Attic into a movie, into like a Hallmark type movie.
Yuga. Sorry, let me go edit that.
But Flowers in the Attic was a book. Yeah, about
not safe for employment. Though. Yeah, so true.
Yeah, not safe for life. That's
not safe for life. Just like, you know, some other things. Shall we wrap it up for the evening then?
Yeah. All right. Okay, there was a 1987 film, but then there was also a TV miniseries in 2022 that it's the most recent one.
Flowers in the Attic had Marty McFly's mom in it. Oh no.
Yeah, it did.
She's stuck. Wait, what if Trump wins?
Oh, then I don't know what the title of the stream would be.
Oh, we have no idea.
Yeah.
Orange Man Back? I don't know.
That's too corny.
4 more queers? I don't know.
4 more. That's like 3 Musketeers. Yeah.
Yeah. If.
Total
you know what?
Victory. There
you
know
go. What it will be the Billions Must Smile Chud Shack. Is what it'll be.
That'll be it.
Billions Must Smile. Orange Man Back. Oh, that's not bad.
That's not too bad. Something about the crystals. Yeah.
Orange Man. Well, Trump Sarah. There you go.
We already had that.
We had a Trump Sarah title?
Yeah, I think we had Trump Sarah.
No, we didn't. Hold on.
Oh, we'll look at it.
Hold on. I'm literally checking the playlist of the Digital Archipelago to see if that's the case. Do we have one? Digital Archipelago. No. All right, Trump Sarah. Oh, geez. The first episode is so... Oh, man. I did not weigh as much as I do now. I was a lot skinnier back then. I have gained some weight. Jesus.
Total Captive Dreamer victory.
Martin is a great poster and a good friend.
Yeah.
I'm looking around. No, there is no Trump Sarah title in the title.
Okay, then we did another Trump Sarah.
We can literally do Trump Sarah.
Drain the Skibbity toilet in the White House 2025.
Oh, that'll be, okay. I'm going to make the thumbnail. I've got it. Thank you.
Trump is in the toilet? Yeah.
Trump's head is out of the toilet. Oh, we're instead of Skibbity Biden. There you go. Skibbity Trump. Perfect.
2025, engage.
Engage. If the show continues another 2 years, Matt and Gio will be the same way. No, I guarantee you it won't, because
I would have to work a lot hard, and Prude would also have to work a lot harder. So
you have to
really he'd have to have like a feeder type thing going on.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No thanks. That's a terrible idea. But I'm going to make that fucking Skibbity Trump.
How high? What's your height, Prude?
I am 5'10".
I'm 5'11", so
yeah.
I'm almost 6 feet, but yeah, The old head finally, the old head smiled.
The old head smile.
One of the most poetic tweets I ever saw was a picture of a tornado that said, this is the rage inside the mind of an old head that's been forgotten. I'm like, wow, that's true. Yeah, so true.
So true.
But speaking of e-drama, we did talk about Tim Fool. Did you see that Lord Baldo is getting divorced? That Lady Rekieta is divorcing Nick Rekieta.
About time.
About time, yeah. So Lord Baldo just continues to be felted. Like, it's felt after felt after felt. It's just it's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
It's a rough time.
It's rough, yeah. It's
well, bad. The Digital Archipelago is brought to you by viewers like you. Your ongoing financial support on subscribestar.com/theprudentialist and patreon.com/giantartproductions makes this show continue to go round and round. And the audience is the third share, as always. We always appreciate your support. And now we will move on to the super chats. And we will see you all next Thursday is when we're going to do this.
Yes.
All right.
And next week, and tomorrow's the war report. So go to Constantine McKelly's channel. Look out for
the reason why we're recording on a Monday is because tomorrow I am recording with John Spiezio, or however you say his last name, to talk about his upcoming book. And that will be out this Thursday. What's
his book about?
His book is set in the Victorian times. And for those who want to know, it is something of the springtime. By John King Spezio or Spezio. I don't know how to pronounce this. He can correct me when I see him. Although I have to dress nice because his face is on the back cover of the book, and I feel like I need to be equally dressed nice when to talk to him. I don't know if he's doing his face or not, but it'll be fine. Also, that is true. I wanted to say that last week, but activation word, Ronald McDonald. Finally happened. Finally happened. All right, so... Well, no, we've mentioned Ethan Ralph Penultimo. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. We made fun of him earlier.
No, we didn't actually. I think there hasn't been any new drama with Ethan, so...
Oh, okay.
With Ralph. Besides having Rekieta on, but that's...
There you go. Yeah. All right, so let's get started. I'll start with
he broke his hip. Sorry, you said
he broke his hand.
Yeah, he broke his hand. Yeah.
He had the Saturday night palsy of like doing something to his radial ulnar or whatever. But let's get started then. Yeah. Starting off with Based Retard for $2. He says his political apathy. It's a great name, Based Retard. That's based so true. Retard. That's me. He says, is political apathy based or just a brainlet excuse?
Both.
You can be apathetic. Yeah. You can be apathetic, but also you can't use it as cope.
People that are politically apathetic are either like low IQ, like what did Alex Jones used to say, low grade morons? Yeah. Or they have like a few that are politically apathetic. It's because they have like a transcendent notion of politics where they've basically been around long enough and they know enough about political theory and about the way it actually works on the ground besides theory that they're like, yeah, the power of your hand is only the really thing. The power in your hand directly is the only thing you can really trust in this life in terms of change.
Yeah.
Whereas like grander systems is really not up to us. So
that's true. Yeah. So I mean, it just depends on, are you clear pilled and on? But if you're just being like, I don't care, then I think that indicates a lack of.
Oh, didn't Moldvin make some waves recently? He was on some bigger platform.
He was on the European Conservatives podcast, and he kind of wafted about on a lot about nothing. And he's got a book apparently coming out with Passage Press. So I guess all those Substack bros finally got their money's worth.
Grey mirror for an nihilist prince.
Yes.
The way democracy.
Although it's called monarchy. It's called a fascicle or something like that. And I was like, what? Wow! From Cortrianu confections comes the fascicle. You know, all that hard-hitting right-wing flavor.
Oh my God.
Someone hire me. This is too good not to use.
Remember we had that bit a few months ago on the show, the right-wing Baskin Robbins? Like, what would the flavor titles be? Yeah.
I haven't thought about a Baskin Robbins in forever because I live in an area where there's a Brahms. Like, why the fuck would I mess with Baskin Robbins when the superior product is right there? Redneck Adjacent, this is his first time in chat, talking and chatting with us.
$19
and 99 cents. Good sir. He says, Friend Simulator charitable contribution. Well, I greatly appreciate it. Redneck and Jason. Welcome to being the third chair on the show. Chat is the third main character on the digital archipelago, and you guys make this show worth it and what it is. Robert Reisenfeld says, do that horror film rant in the Kissinger voice. Shit.
Can't do it.
Well, Gio, the ultimate horror film is going to be that you've seen all these things, you've tweeted all these things, and now you've created a convenient timeline, a scroll of all your thoughts and depravity that will be used against you as the dread judgment seat of Christ. And you'll have to stand there as Jesus looks upon your tweets. Every person you've called a low IQ retard, a swathoid, it will all be there. You are the ultimate horror figure, sure, that comes into bound here, because only you can scare yourself into eternal damnation. There you go. Something like that. I don't remember what I was ranting about.
I used to call a lot of people bugmen back in the day.
Oh, bugmen, I see. Henry
Kissinger is looking up from heaven down on anti-gaining hell.
I've seen a lot from down here. You'd be very surprised who's with me. Can you believe it? I'm very good friends with, what's his name? Donald Rumsfeld. We share a sauna together. See, now I'm going to hell.
Is Rumsfeld dead?
Yeah, Donald Rumsfeld died like 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, too bad, man.
All right, Jay Ford.
I'm kidding.
All right, Jay Ford. I'll read this, but remember, I'll see you at the next OGC conference. Won't end well for you. But if Hillary Clinton was running for president in 2024, this is exactly what she would be saying. Walk to the polls and vote on that thing.
That's so stupid. I could feel my IQ points depleting.
Again, take that shit to the Sunflower Society, not me. Redneck Adjacent says, don't spend it all in one place. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate it. William McDuff says, providing liquidity. Well, we love our liquidity. We do. We're big fans of liquidity around here. Let's see here.
Into the crystals you go, Jay Ford.
Seasider says, loving the crystal memes, but I'm more of a carousel guy. Logan's Run. Now that's a reference.
Whoa!
All those late 70s dystopian novel movies. Marbly for 10 pounds says, long time no sneed, cozy show, sending prayers to all my American friends. Can we expect to see you both on the OGC's election stream this coming Tuesday? I will be on it. I don't know about Gio.
I'm not American. Probably not going to be on it.
So we'll see.
Man, if they invite me, then I'll go.
Okay, well, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Robert Weisenfeld says, Jamaican Indian fusion, come on. Oh, yeah, that's the better joke to make about the restaurant stuff there. That's true.
They probably have Jamaican
They probably do. They probably do have Jamaican Indian fusion somewhere in America. Oh, most assuredly.
Yeah.
All right, so on to the Entropy Super Chats. The link is in the description as well as the pinned comment and chat. Seneca says, Missouri Lord, the treasure of Alf Bolin. Bolin was a Confederate guerrilla turned outlaw during the Civil War. He raided USA baggage and mail trains near Murder Rocks and buried his stolen goods in the area, but never revealed the location. Many still hunt for the treasure, but his ghost guards the cursed treasure.
Whoa! That's crazy.
That's insane.
That's classic Americana ghost legend. Treasure, Civil War. It's got everything. That's crazy. That's like the Oak Island thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. People haven't found it yet.
Rumsfeld finally knows what the WMDs are.
That's WMDs are storing the balls. Yeah.
Graham McCann says, regarding horror movies, one of my favorites that came out this century is The Others with Nicole Kidman. Came out in 2001.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's my old man's favorite horror movie.
Really good atmosphere. Highly recommend it. Well, I have not seen The Others, so I guess I'm going to go watch it.
That's good. It's really good, yeah.
Okay.
It's not as kitschy as any other ghost story, so.
Okay. Charlie Mackey says, woe upon Tim and all e-celebs. They must all eventually take the path of the pathetic lol cow, disappear and eat the loss of fame, or the lucky few graduate to an unrelated healthy life like PewDiePie somehow managed to.
Yeah.
You either live long enough to become a lol cow or see yourself turn to a PewDiePie.
Yeah. You either become like Boogie or Wings of Redemption or Review Tech DSA. Or
there's no in between.
Yeah,
there's no in between.
Yeah, I'm so glad that piece of shit's going down fast. Review Tech DSA, because he's like honestly like one of the worst, and he's just I don't know. Anyways,
Tell us how you
I'll
really
start
feel.
Fed posting if I continue.
Yeah, let's not. Sergeant Holdel says Elon retweeting Beach Boy 007 Schizo MAGA edit. Unbelievable how back we are. That was a really good edit.
He used to go by Eric Thumos, remember?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, that was so great.
Well done, Beach Boy. Well done.
I love that one song when, like, in the newer Hyperborean edits, like the ancient Indo-Europeans. You know that one song with like the the Tibetan throat singing, and like the I think it comes from Skyrim. I don't know. It could come from Skyrim. That song. You know the one I'm talking about, right?
I think so.
It was in the recent Patrick Casey Galaxy Gas, like where he.
Oh yeah,
there was
yeah.
a TikToker that like had a photo of the
Trump rally. Madison Square Garden rally.
And you zoom in, it's Patrick Casey. Yeah.
Oh my, so good. But it's a good edit. Sam153 says bottoms up for the clown show next week. TF2 and Gary's mod were Kino, and I need a dispenser here. So true. I enjoyed TF2 a lot, although I played more of the Demo Man and the Scout or Sniper. Those were my three mains. But that, I'm going to refresh Entropy real quick, and then I'll double check over here on the lovely world of YouTube again. And I think we're okay. Yeah. Kate J, I looked at Jeff Bezos's follow list. I didn't see him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was just fucking with people.
That's fake.
Which,
news.
To me, lying about stuff like that just makes you very one step close to a journalist.
That's like the passport memes.
Yeah.
I have one. I had to, like a stock photo. I had to include my stock photos.
Absolutely.
That's pretty good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will return after the election.
Yeah.
I will be live
more of a
with
sober analysis than a live election coverage.
Yes. If you want live election coverage from Americans, go tune into the Old Glory Club this Tuesday. And I will be on there. All your friends will be there. And whether it's 4,000 more years of the Kambala Yuga, or we finally have escaped into Trump samsara, I don't know. We'll do more. Also, Penultimo, the Discourse Corner is a monthly show. So next month, I don't know what I'm going to do for November. I may do the solo one. I may finally just put out the Halo rant for Discourse Corner next month and talk about video games. But after the election, but before it's been called. So true. So true. That is our struggle.
Oh,
but yeah, no, the Discourse Corner is a monthly show because usually I have guests on. But I have the October's episode is out. The free hour is available on the channel. You can go see it. Volpez joined me to talk about English as a second language, how that impacts internet discourse and such. And the full 2 hours is available to channel members, Substack subscribers, and Subscribe Star supporters for any tier. Your guys' support helps make that work. And then, Gio, you've got some content out, right?
Yeah, I had on Saturday I released the latest episode of Content Minded with Spum Donor. We talk a lot about
such
animation.
A great username.
Yeah.
I like it. Spum Donor.
Spum Donor. We talk about animation, art in America, Tumblr Kids, John Kay. It's really great. Yeah, it's really great. So, yeah. And I'll probably have content next week as well, but we'll see what happens. Next week, Digital Archipelago is on my channel, and depending on who wins, the title will be something interesting. So,
indeed.
Yeah.
I will say this, since this is the last episode before shit hits the fan.
Before like the nukes drop. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Well, I don't know what's going to come, and I know some kind of social unrest is going to happen regardless. Just keep in mind that, to be safe above all things, right? Self-preservation and family is all that's going to matter right now. But it's literally about to be a week before the election. Shit will most assuredly hit the fan in some way or another. Whether some outside event or, of course, all the domestic shenanigans that we have seen happen before will most likely happen again. The energy feels like it's on our side. The forces of good seem to feel like it's on our side, despite the fact that there's so many things wrong with Trump. But right now, I feel like it would be better to buy 4 years of breathing room than 4 years of acceleration. That's just me. As an American, my country's it's been in a really shitty place as long as I've been alive. I'm not yet 30, and from the haze of the global war on terror to 2008 to all this now, it's a disaster. It's a mess, but there's still good people in here. Well worth fighting for it. Well worth protecting. Well worth preserving. And really, do the good that you know, and the good that you don't know will be revealed unto you, as St. Mark the Ascetic says. And that's really, I think, really what's going to matter here. Do all the good that you know, and whatever comes out of this mess, the good that we know that we have to do will most assuredly be revealed to us then.
So you're not ready to say, like, America had a good run, it's over?
I refuse to do that as long as I'm here.
Yeah.
Until they wipe out the last of us.
Yeah.
I love my country. I love the people who live in it. I love actual Americans. I love what we were and what we still can become. I don't think it's over for us yet. However, if Kamala wins, I do really genuinely think it's fucking over.
It'll be over for the current iteration of discourse and the way we think about politics. Definitely, it'll be. Unless people have like delusional cargo cult, like ghost dance Trumpism, but there definitely will be a lot of soul searching, I predict, as I've always said for a few months now.
As with any election, there will always be some kind of after action report. When Biden came in, I had quoted John Paul Jones, "I have not yet begun to fight." And I think that in the 4 years of Biden, from the Old Glory Club and the chapters and all the volunteer work that we've done for Hurricane Helen victims, the conferences, the meeting of people and minds and people who've worked in government, those with money, I think it's been good. But so much still needs to be done. But again, the existential threats that exist, whether it's just unlimited immigration, ongoing decline, the just absolute destruction of what came before with white America, then so much has to be done. And really, and in fact, our planning for the OGC conference has literally been either how to make a victory, an actual victory if Trump wins, or how to survive occupation if Harris somehow procedurally gets in. And no one believes that she'll win by the merits. God knows that that's dead.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, but even still, like, I think the one last thing I forgot before the show ends is that if Kamala does win, then I think that, apart from like overt fortifying, it would be like a testament to us living in a bubble, because then we would see that like turbo normies that would vote Democrat, that they have like a totally different media ecosystem that's exposed to like different things, and they have like a totally different perception about reality. And I think that all of us on Twitter, certainly, we're all like gassed up on Trump, but say if Trump loses and Kamala does win, then that would sort of prove the thesis that we kind of do live in a bubble, and it would be like a reality call for a lot of people. Because then we would see like actually normies were being indoctrinated by the media. Actually, normies were buying into coconut memes or whatever. And it's like, you can't really gauge for things that like, you can't, speaking of Rumsfeld, you can't like really engage for unknown unknowns. You don't really know what you don't know about what the average person thinks and feels outside of your own purview of media. Yeah. So well, we'll see what happens. Or it will prove the thesis that actually we do, as a cabal of posters, have a lot of influence in the hearts and minds of people, because we've sort of like hacked into their information system, their sort of like wetware biosecurity system.
Yeah, I really hope that 2028 will be the first time in my lifetime that it isn't the most important election ever. That would be great. I hope so. That would be wonderful. But Charlie Mackey asks on Entropy for $5. He says, Kamala, USA or South Africa or Brazil? The answer to me has always been Brazil.
I think South Africa is more.
We'll be Brazilified, I think, with South African characteristics.
Well, we won't have like the national pride that the Brazilians have.
No,
we won't. Yeah.
They'll try and make one, but it'll be nuts.
Yeah.
But stay in contact with good men. Know your family. Know your neighbor. Do what you can. Be connected. Do all the work that you know that you need to do. But yeah, at first Brazil, then South Africa. That's probably true.
Yeah.
But yeah, November 8th will be November 5th will be a fun time if you're a guy named Richard on Twitter. Hanania or Spencer, I guess you'll have a fun time with that.
No.
There's going to be a lot of coal on Twitter that night. But with that, we'll see you all after the election. Even though it won't probably be officially called when we do the show, but still.
Oh man.
We'll see you then.
God bless. Goodbye. Too sweet.
Take care, guys.